it's really hard to define where my footage will go. You think you buy somebody with a monthly paycheck. There is a greater power. You are not in control of this world. And I roll over and I get up and I'm like, whoa! Because I'm like, oh, I almost killed myself. He needs to slow down on Tuesdays with Miles. Like, well, who's this guy think he is? Where now it's like, all y'all motherfuckers have to post every day, dog.
Yeah. Hello, my BMX nerd friends. Welcome back to another episode of Kanode Knows. It's Tuesday, and I just recorded with Miles Rogoish, so it's Tuesday with Miles. I think if you were in BMX around the same time that I have been, then it's inevitable that you saw motherfucking Miles. And the man was prolific in BMX. He was undeniable. I didn't like him. I was intimidated by him. I was like, this guy's full of himself. But turns out he's human like the rest of us, and he just... He's got an incredible story and incredible and contagious attitude of just go do the thing. And it was a treat to talk to him. It's a long one, 2.5 hours. And we go over a lot of BMX stuff. And then we get into his new venture of art and the film work that he had done in the in-between, and Family Man and Sobriety a little bit. And it was a treat. I think this episode is a good one, and you're going to enjoy it. Miles, thanks for coming on. And yeah, that's it. This podcast is supported by Dance Comp. And that's all, man. Let's get into it. Here's Miles Rogoish. It was a terrible snap.
Why is your name Kanode Knows? You don't know shit.
No.
And we're back, and our bladders are empty, and our hearts are full. Miles Rogoish, you had some of the most contagious lingo ever in BMX. That's one thing I remember when I think back to being younger and being like, fucking Miles, these guys and their Meeches and their brooches and all this shit. What's your favorite piece of lingo that you left the BMX world with?
You know, that's funny. It started in a whole different world. Like, it was, Drew was there, but it was outside of BMX where the Meech started. We can get into that if you want to.
Yeah,
but
what is the
my
Meech?
favorite? Well, to say real quick, dude, Bruce Chrisman.
Nice.
And it's full circle because we're not even talking about Bruce Chrisman.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because that's where it left, like with Gabe and Tom. It was Tom who started it from Comb It Back Brush, telling a bro to calm down.
Okay.
And it just evolved, but like that was in the end of my era, and I feel like it's still today. Like Crowder will call me, and he's like, "Yo, Bruce."
Yeah,
it's like that's the smooth new Meech is Bruce. You know what I mean? So the adult version. But yeah, the Meech. It was me, my buddy John Swab, and Drew York. We all lived together, and I can't remember if Tony went or not, but we were at Lollapalooza and we bought a bunch of fake ecstasy, not on purpose, obviously, and had like a little bit of acid. And I just started going around to people and saying, "You are the Meech." And then like it turned into telling people like, "It's nice to meet you." Like, nice to meet you real fast.
Yeah.
And then I just started saying ice, door, meet, shoe, like 4 different total words. They'd be like, yeah, nice to meet you too, man. And so like we realized we could like kind of turn these words. I actually got the tattoo in Hastings. I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? I forget where it is. Oh, there it is. But yeah, the ice cube, door, a steak, and a shoe. And then
nice.
The
Nice.
arrow for Hastings or whatever, the arrow in the eye.
You.
But yeah, it started with just like this random thing. I was talking to people and not the words I was saying, and they would like communicate back. And
that's incredible.
Just started being we heard the song Big Meech, and it was like right after that. And then like my Osiris said it thing. Yep. And then people just started calling me Meech. So
Larry Hoover, man. Yeah, dude, that's when I was thinking about you, I was like, it's crazy how much you've been in my life through what you've done in BMX. Like I was I think we're similar age. How old are you right now?
I'm 36.
Yeah, I'm 35. So like your era is my era as well. And it's fucking interesting. I was thinking about this morning how I rode for Stranger, then I worked for Subrosa, and then I'm in your shadow. Like you left Subrosa, whatever happened there, and then like I'm filling your shoes, kind of, which is not a thing that one could do. But yeah, I tried my best out there. But it's pretty interesting how much we have in common, and then we've never actually talked. I'll tell you, I was like a combination of intimidated by you and your I guess confidence, you could say. I was like, man, who does this guy think he is? Fuck this guy. And just the shoes or whatever. It was a tough thing. But then you grow up and looking back, I'm like, I envy. Yeah, it was jealousy too, of just like, fuck, I wish I could think of myself the way Miles thinks of himself. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess I wanted to hit on like 5 things there, but I want to appreciate the shit out of that. But, you know, it's funny to me because the way I started in anything in my life, like even BMX, like I won my first bike. So it was like, I didn't have this dream of like, I'm going to be a pro BMX rider. It was like, this is what I have in my hands. I have to make this work, you know? And I've just always never like put a boundary on what's possible. I think it's weird that society's like made people feel a certain way about that. And, you know, it's funny, you and I, because it's like you don't travel to the city that's like an hour or 2 away. If you're going to leave town, you like go out of state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like you being 1 year behind me and us so similar, we should have fucking clicked. We should have. It should have been a no-brainer. You know what I mean? But it's like we're so close in that minimal separation that the paths just never crossed.
Yeah, I mean? It's wild. But it is what it is. And then coming full circle to like doing the live streams last year and linking up with you and talking to you, I was like, this is fucking sick. It feels right, you know?
And the intimidation thing, that's so funny because like, I mean, some people like right when they see me, I mean, this is like today, you know, like face tattoos, whatever the fuck, I don't care, but I'm a real like equal person, super chill when you get to know me. And, you know, a lot of people, when they first see me, they think like maybe he's a fighter or he's rude or whatever. And then you get to know me and it's not like that. And so the intimidation part of that is funny because like I've always wanted everybody to have their success. Like everyone's path and their purpose is their own, you know? And so I don't think I would have ever say, fill my shoes. I think you were doing your thing and we had similar styles, you know, like I've never seen competition in anyone. And I think it's weird to think that way. Cause like that might've been the jealousy or like intimidation part on your end.
Yeah.
Like if you had talked to me, it'd be like, dude, you're killing it. Like fucking go. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's funny, like rappers will be like, that dude doesn't deserve the limelight. And I'm like Little Dicky for Chance when he came out and it's like, dude, he's white and Jewish and he's making fun of himself. And this rapper that's mad that he has a spotlight, it's like, you do trap music.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go get in the studio instead of worrying about this other person who's found a niche, you know?
Yeah.
And so I definitely knew I had a niche and you know, that's the only way I was going to get to do anything is because I don't bar spin, I don't backflip. I don't, you know, it was going to have to be because I like did it my way. And yeah, I had to be confident for that to happen. But no, man, I would have never thought that you or me were taking a paycheck out of each other's pocket. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know why I wasn't there when you were, and that had nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Probably 90% all me.
Briefly, what is that? Because you guys covered it. So for the record, like your Unclick podcast is great. There's 3 hours of your backstory, and I'd like to try and, you know, not double cover everything. But I think that the Miles Subrosa split is a pretty big deal, and I just briefly restate what happened there.
You know, one all love. You know, like. Especially today, like that's what I'm saying. There's all love today. You know, I'm trying to like make sure I put it in the proper timeline in my head. One, I can account to, you know, if you're going to wake up and be a piece of shit every day, whether you think you're cool doing it or not, you're not going to get a bunch of good energy to come back towards you, you know, and labeling myself as an alcoholic, as a pro BMX rider, you know, I might not have like put it on paper in a magazine or anything, but I was like party boy, you know?
Yeah.
And that can only go so far, even though I could handle business on like, you know, behind the back end. That just being my image is already, not really a fun spot to put yourself when you want to be taken seriously, you know? Yeah. So, you know, I count a lot to my past and, you know, my drinking and everything. But, you know, there was some things where Ryan and I started seeing not eye to eye. And I do think that there was a lot of confusion in what Tuesdays with Miles, Goody, and certain other projects when they would overlap, because it's like, yeah, I filmed for Subrosa, but at the same time, I have this duty to put out a weekly web edit, and this is the mini DV days, you know, so you know how long that takes. Yeah. And it always seemed like a great idea, like, oh man, this guy can put out content, this and that, but then everyone wants you to themselves. Yeah. It's like, you know, we know what program we signed up for here. Yeah. And so I think one of the main things that ended up happening when me and Ryan really didn't see eye to eye was like, looking back on it now, I put a bunch of my footage in a Def Grip interview that I really wanted to put out. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's my footage. It doesn't get filmed in black and white. You make it black and white. Yeah. And so no matter what I was gathering, whether it was with LaShawn or Ennis or whoever at the time, it was my footage. And Nuno hit me up, and I thought it'd be a really cool thing to do. Everyone who had one was really awesome. And I was really proud of it. And it was like right after that came out, like, you know, the butts, our heads started butting or whatever. There's a lot more that I said on the unclicked deal, but in reality, I think the main basis is just like where footage was going. And, you know, you think you buy somebody with a monthly paycheck, and it's really hard to define where my footage will go based on it being mine in the beginning, you know? So I admire that. I do a lot of it, you know?
It's funny. I think the attitude that you have of like, this is still my footage. You're giving me a monthly paycheck, but like Tuesdays with I can hear Ryan Scher's voice. Well, we paid for the trip. Why are you doing that? You know, like it's
or even like, you know, we would go on a Subrosa trip, and I'd make this like ramp edit for Tuesdays, and it'd be in black and white with a Subrosa logo, and that'd be great. Then sometimes it's like, well, why aren't some of the Tuesdays just Subrosa edits? You know, and like, because it'd be maybe when they didn't have content that month or something. Yeah. And, you know, in my head, I have a plan for where all this stuff would go, and it's fluid for me. But I could see how some people would, you know, maybe feel like there was ownership or just wanting it to be for them. You know what I mean? And it's like, I gotta make everybody happy here. You know what I'm saying? So.
And it's so funny getting older and outside of BMX and getting perspective and like numbers and stuff and all the like, because you don't know you have nothing to compare it to when you're in it. So like when I'm working for Subrosa and I'm getting the small paycheck I was getting, I was like, this is my world and all this stuff. And then as soon as I stepped out of it and looked back, I was like, oh my God, like, you know, it seems so small and trivial now, having been out of it for a while. But when you're in it, it's your whole world.
Like, well, I mean, I think that attests to what your income is.
Yes. Yeah.
Based on what you're doing to get it, it's always going to be your nut. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like whether now in hindsight, the size, you know, like you're saying, versus the work put in, definitely not the best business strategy in the world. But you know, it's just that's what you're getting to do what you're doing. And I think those boundaries of like what we were talking about with the video stuff is it's like so much pressure would end up coming from where things need to be and what t-shirts who's over wearing and all this stuff, where it's like, you know, in all reality, bro, you're giving me fucking pennies to risk my life.
Yeah.
You know? For real. And you're getting to sell the brand and make money and do whatever the fuck you guys want. And, you know, even people who own businesses, not everybody's rich or whatnot, but definitely not worrying about if the bills are getting paid. And I mentioned that in the unclicked thing, like, you know, we're supposed to get paid on the 1st. That's the first Thursday that accounting of them. And it's like, bro, when somebody's check is $300 a month and I'm supposed to be managing their writing. And then they look at me like, well, you get paid to film too. And so like even buying them lunch doesn't feel good all of a sudden. You know what I mean? So it's like, it puts you in a weird spot. And I just think there's a lot of
This episode is brought to you by Dancecom, the legendary online BMX shop that probably took half of your paycheck in 2007, if you were old enough to have a paycheck. Whether you're hunting for a pair of Odyssey pedals, a chain you'll forget to tighten, or just that nostalgic feeling of scrolling through a catalog instead of working, Dancecom's still got you covered. Support the companies that kept BMX alive back when MySpace was popping. Go to dancecomp.com and use promo code Kanode and grab yourself something that you don't really need, but you definitely want. Thanks for supporting the show. Here's back to the episode.
There was a lot of like added pressure for what was expected versus what was offered.
Right.
You know? And I mean, that's life. But if you want someone to give you more, you need to offer more, you know? And that doesn't just mean money-wise. Like Justin Cosman taught me that at a young age. I was like, hey, I'm doing this with Mongoose. I feel like, you know, I'm getting a little worn thin. And he just straight up told me, he goes, Miles, it doesn't matter who you're working for, what industry you're in, anything. Don't ever ask for more to do the same thing. It's like, if you want to have a conversation about growth, then offer X, you know, even if it's a web video a month or, you know, to stay late and do the dishes at your job. Like you can't just be like, hey, I'm worth more.
Right.
Because they'll find someone else to do it, you know? So I think it goes the same way with your employees as well, where it's like, if you're expecting more, you have to like set a parameter and word it properly and offer something as well to find that balance, you know, not just like, well, you're a filmer. That should be all of ours. It's like, where's the fine print, you know?
Yeah, for real. Man, because I had the opposite mindset of, okay, I'm getting a paycheck from Subrosa, then I can't do anything else. I don't know what is wrong with my brain, but I just like wouldn't I would almost treat it like you're paying me to not do other things. I'm just Subrosa at the time. And like I hate that about myself.
That makes sense. You'd be there, and that would make sense that that's what your employer or sponsor would want.
Yeah, but I don't
like getting in bed with me.
It's no good.
Tuesdays with Miles is up from Ballpark, baby. Like I'm getting a check. Like you know who you're calling into bed with immediately, and that's due once a week.
Yeah.
Your other filmers, you know, if they made a video a week, you know how hard they're working to do that. And you want me to make a DVD as well? Well, I said sure, and I could. Yeah. But don't just think I'm going to stop making a video a week that has to go out. You know, I have a contract there as well. So,
dude, that you guys touched on this, like, and it got me. I was like, oh fuck! Like, I really wish that a Miles Goody existed. Like it. What could have been with that passion project of yours?
Yeah, let's stay positive. I want to talk about that. And I want to put a little bumper on what was just said. Like, depending on who hears it, that was all just like equation of work relations, right? And there's some other nasty parts of it where like I wanted to put out my press release and was told sure, and then 8 minutes later, you know, Adam from the Come Up is like, "You're off Subrosa," and I'm like, how do you wait? What? And he's like, oh, well, we already made the post. We got an email over. And I'm like, there was some dirtiness, you know, but in all reality, I'm cool with everything that happened. I have nothing but love for Subrosa and everybody over it, Shadow and whatnot. But I think there was just a lot of blurred lines of where things needed to be. But that being said, dude, Goody would have been the coolest thing I ever made.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I've said that out loud a lot, but I had a song that I showed LaShawn, and like it was the first time I like timelined out a storyboard like with a pin, and it was like, this is the montage, and this is like the flight landing in the plane, and then we do this, and like this is the crash section, and I was like so fucking ready, and when it was taken was like right as like the fingers would have been about to hit the keyboard.
Yeah.
And man, I know that would have been one of the coolest things I ever made in BMX.
Hell yeah.
Video wise.
So I'm curious, this is an interesting,
especially because the crew, you know.
Yeah. Like that's an era that I don't know if can ever be replaced or replicated. I'm curious about how you handle things like that. You know, when life throws a lemon your way, what do you think and what do you do when you get the news that you're gone or you guys are parting ways? Like, do you process it like fucking, you know, get wasted for a couple days and then realize, okay, I got to get my shit together? Are you sad or are you just mad? Like what goes through your head when something hard like that happens?
I mean, it's definitely different today. Then it wouldn't be get wasted because I just like steadily couldn't blow a zero on a breathalyzer. I just like kept myself topped off, you know what I mean? But I'm in AA now, and I'm not trying to make this all about sobriety or anything, even though it's great. Drinking and other certain things in your life definitely create you to play the victim card. And, with clarity in my mind, I realized that really you're responsible for everything that happens to you.
Yeah.
And there's definitely an easier way. I'm sure that problem could have been solved had I been a lot more level-headed. And instead of like the immediate conversation, taking it as an attack and then not being able to resolve it and it just blowing up really quick and being on the internet in 5 minutes, then to like, okay, let's talk about this, let's figure this out. Like maybe some changes need to happen on both ends, but instead it was like, they think they're right. I think I'm right. It doesn't work. And that's like with anyone, not like you're saying in these situations. So, I take a lot of responsibility for all of my actions today, but even back then, I was never owed anything in life.
Right.
And I think
did you think, was that your attitude back then too?
Like I said about the bike, and you were saying like my confidence, like there's no guarantee on any dream, you're lucky to have a dream. It's up to you to chase it, And so there's going to be hardships along the way on your growth through life, and that's, if we got into the trip, it's your circle from, birth to death.
Yeah.
And so in hindsight, these little things that happen, they don't define you. It's whether you get stuck in them or not. But, when things suck, it definitely hurts, but I'm like really, I wouldn't say good with conflict, but I understand when something is happening that the part of it that's out of my control is not worth losing sleep over.
Hell yeah.
It's like, okay, fuck. Instead of like telling the next 10 people I see why that this is wrong, it's like, okay, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not even like, oh, what am I going to do? Like, okay, put foot in front of the other, like you're obviously no longer doing that and you need to be doing something. And I'm never going to not be doing something or working or whatever. So it was a little easier for me to get over some things just because I'm a train,
Yeah.
the brakes aren't getting pumped ever. So
where does that come from? Like, did you have a example growing up? Like where do you think that perspective and, because what you're describing is almost like the serenity prayer, just like let go of the things you can't control and then take ownership of the things that you can and make progress in the right direction. I know whenever something like that big heavy happens, like that's usually the catalyst for me to do something super dope, like the future's bright. So I'm curious where it comes from for you.
I love this podcast already because the conversation is sparking my brain to think about stuff I've really never even thought of. But this came up the other day with my stepdad. I have a 2-year-old son named Wild, and it's so funny. He's very like determined, and like my stepdad said, they used to call me the littlest general.
The littlest what?
The littlest general.
Hell yeah. The littlest
all the kids in the neighborhood. I was the leader. Like all the kids in the neighborhood, it was like, what's Miles doing? Like, we're building this fort today. I'm switching. You got a new bike. Well, these wheels would be better for you because of what I was just hustling.
Yeah.
And it was like, I never had someone when I was growing up that young that like was in charge of me.
Yeah.
It was all like, everyone was like twiddling their thumbs. And I was like, yo, let's get this shit together. So I ended up always kind of being the one with the plan. And then I think in life, it's just kind of is like that, like, let's use what we were talking about, for instance, when that ended, I mean, there is no one else I go to work for. It's like, I'm me, what I mean? And so I just have to like find my landing again. Yeah. It's never like, oh, well, you can come help me do my thing. Cause it's like, no, I can't. I got to do the Miles Rogoish show, And so I don't know. That's always been in me as a kid, is just to like, do what I wanted to do and run the program. And, I don't know. It's been a blessing, and it's been a blessing. I won't say and a curse.
Yeah,
I'm super happy to be there, but yeah, I can't abide by not being somewhat in control of the program and the process of what's, being created or job title or whatever.
I love it. It kind of sounds like what you're saying is like there was almost a vacuum of just like, well, if if everybody's twiddling their thumbs, this is what we should do. I heard you say like, let's at least go in this direction, get in the van. If we're going to make something happen, if we have a goal, let's work towards it, which I love.
I've got BMX to thank for a lot of that. Now that you say that, it's like once the bike thing got really serious, we're in a landlocked state, and this is when like Dan's Comp and CCS were still landing on your doorstep.
Yeah.
And so like, you know what I mean? Like the internet wasn't big yet. And it was like, okay, what am I going to do to make this go one step further? And that's when it was like, get a camera. And then, once you're the cameraman, you're pretty much brand manager of your crew. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. It's like you fall back into that general area and it's like, you're the one making the plan because you have the camera and you're willing to put in that work. And so, yeah, it's always there's been a new position for me in myself to fill in order to continue the journey, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. I had this thought earlier because just thinking about you and your life, and I don't know much about like your background. Like, do you have siblings? What was your family like growing up? Those are the questions.
Yeah, I've got one real brother, an older brother. He's about 7 to 8 years older than me, depending on the time and birthday. He's fucking everything, growing up. He was so cool. Like, the only time we went to school together, I don't know how this happened because of our age, but maybe it was pre-K or something, but I would be in pre-K and they were in 5th grade. And when they would call the 5th graders out of the gym in the first of the morning to go to their classes, him and his buddies would like huddle around me and like sneak me out of the gym.
Sick.
And so I was like rolling with them, and then I'd get to go to my class and like be in the hallway by myself in my area early. And so that was already like, I'm like VIP in this fucking school shit,
Yeah.
And he was in punk band, and that was really good actually, and great in acting and music and everything. And he never made me feel like the little brother that couldn't come along. Like I'd get in the van when I was 11, 12 years old, and they'd be playing at like, free venues outside, like a bunch of punk kids smoking weed, and they're like 16 to 18. And I was just this little kid that was like accepted to be there, and everyone was like super nice to me. And I think just like that, being like treated as an equal as at a young age around older, cooler kids.
Yeah.
It also adapted my mind to like not be thinking about the minuscule shit that people my age were doing.
Right.
So I was like already progressive into like, man, this is like, you're into cars or you're into music, and not like playing video games and doing like dumb shit that kids would do. So
that's lucky, dude. That's perspective. And then while you're saying that, I'm thinking about how that translates probably in the future of, since you got, what it's like to feel accepted, then when a new kid is in the van or whatever, like on the team, then Miles, the big brother, gets to be the kind general, if you will.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's kind of how I am in life anyways. And it's probably because of situations like that, but like, there's never a time where somebody should be the cool, like, let's just say like varsity jock. Like you should never reach a plateau where the underdog is not worth your time.
Yeah.
Because think of where you were before you got to where you wanted to be,
Exactly.
There's more times you hear about the story of somebody opening up a hand and like lending away than, I met my favorite fucking whoever, and he's a dick,
Yeah.
It's like no one wants to hear that story, and you can touch someone so much easier just by giving them the time of day.
For real.
It doesn't take a lot out of your day, or like even moment, just a hi and a couple little minutes of talk, and then it's like, holy shit, that dude was so cool. I had no idea.
Exactly. It means the world. That's something I remind myself with for some DMs from kids. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay, hold on. Let's be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because at the same time, it goes back to what I was saying about like, people in industries and like those rappers or whatnot, or somebody your friend getting a sponsor and you thinking like you deserved it, not them. Like that negative thinking. But it's like, no one should be in competition with you, and you shouldn't be in competition with anyone else. So helping somebody get along the way, it's not like you're literally going to show someone how to become you and take your spot in life. You know what I mean? So like, why not be positive and show some love instead of trying to gatekeep yourself from, no one that exists that's going to take your spot anyways. You know what I mean? Like,
for real, that's an attitude of abundance, man. I love it. That's great. Where did we go, Miles? Oh yeah, I was texting when we were texting about this the other day, and I said my first question is going to be, hey Miles, if you were going to interview, having done the Unclicked, if you were going to interview Miles Rogoish, what would your first question be?
Man, I thought about that and now I forgot it.
That's relatable.
Question be, I guess to ask myself, like, how do you deal with it all? And I ask myself that every day, you know.
Hey Miles, let me ask you something. How do you deal with it all?
I don't know.
You're supposed to say, Bob, that's a great question, Bob.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was just going right into it with you. I'm like, yeah, we did it. No, man, I don't know. It's weird. Like I was thinking about this with my fiance the other day, and it's crazy that I even got anywhere in my life that someone might think is cool or, you know, noticeable with the amount of drinking I was doing. Because to juggle that, like what my life, I stopped drinking and I technically, you know, would have the same path necessarily and like responsibilities. And to think like I'm accomplishing a shitload. Like I do like 20-hour days all the time. Yeah. Me and Steve Courteau were talking about that. Like I'm very motivated. I wake up and listen to speeches and, you know, do my meditation routine and but
yeah.
to have been balancing hiding alcohol on my breath.
Yeah.
And like needing always to stop, you know, like you're saying, editing. Well, we got to get the bottle of whiskey to the hotel before I even open the camera. It's like, it's crazy to think how I balanced all that and like how much better my life could have been, not to reflect on the past, but I don't know how I did it then, because now with like clarity, I love running on empty and I love the grind. You know, it's to me, it's more about the journey than the destination, or it's 100% about the journey than the destination. I live in desire. I don't see myself ever being content with where I'm going to be. And, you know, that's the fun part of it. There's passion involved with the want. And, so I get a lot off of that, but, yeah, man, cause some people have asked me like, you know, what do you even do? How do you do all this? And you just like really can't second guess yourself a lot. And know that if you're putting out positive energy, that everything's going to turn around in your favor.
For real.
Maybe not in your favor, but you're not putting out negative ions in order to receive them back.
Yep.
And so, you know, you might not get the $1 million job you're looking for in 5 minutes or whatever, but every little thing you do counts. Yeah. And you're at least not going to be backtracking if you're staying in a positive and, you know, like gung-ho routine with it.
I used to think that that's bullshit and that's woo-woo, but dude, the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, that's real as fuck. There's something magical about it too. It's just, if you think that the world is an abundant place, the world's going to be an abundant place. If you think give love, you'll receive love. And it's I don't know if you're religious. I don't know if I'm religious, but I've come around. I've
got a higher power and all that.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm the king of cliche.
Hell yeah.
And it's kind of like my alcoholism when it's like, well, my pro bike rider image, you know, I was party boy until I realized what saying you're an alcoholic and surrendering meant. It's like, oh, I'm saying it in a different way, you know, but it's the same thing. Like I always said, I'm the king of cliche. Cause like I'd be talking to someone and I'd be like, oh, that's cliche. Or I'm talking to someone and someone next to me is like, oh, it sounds cliche. I'd be like, hold on. And I like listen to it because cliche means it works.
Yeah.
That's, you know, like it's got this negative connotation of like, oh, it's cliche, and everyone's like, oh, live, laugh, love, cliche. Like I want to live. I want to love. I want to laugh. You know what I mean? Like if you really get down to it. And so as dumb as some stuff can sound or woo-woo, like you said, these are positive things people are talking about.
That's a great,
you know, it might be,
cliche doesn't mean it's bad.
It might be dumbed down into like, okay, yeah, you get what you give, blah, blah, blah. But no, it's true. It's like, what's being positive and like having hope gonna hurt? You know what I mean? Like if you're going to live in negativity, it's obvious that that's where you're going to be. Yep. But, you know, there's better, once you look into it more, there's definitely like better ways of saying it than like the cliche woo-woo that we're talking about. But I mean, you know, it's all math as well. Like when I was an alcoholic, and I got sober. I've been sober multiple times, but this is like the real time. And, you know, until I did it for myself, it wasn't real. And then you notice like your life changes. And I can say that because, you know, I was sober to my fiance, I was sober to my kid, I was sober to my mom, my boss, or like the project I'm working on with the client. And if I took a drink in the morning while brushing my teeth and hit it with mouthwash, I've immediately lied to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm looking in the mirror. So if I start my day by lying to myself, I'm putting this like invisible cloak or film over me that's shielding anything to naturally come to me that's going to be good. Because how can I expect the person that I walk up to want to work with me, offer me anything, if the first thing I'm doing is being dishonest to myself?
Yep.
When what I want from them is honesty, and then I'm saying I'm a man of my word and that I'm honest, that even though I'm not lying to them directly about what we're talking about, I've lied to myself today. So my whole day is dishonest.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's looking at it like that, where, you know, when you umbrella it with like I forget what you just said, but like, you know, the abundance thing. But if you really give yourself 100% honesty and live in that humility and put yourself out there vulnerable like that, you will notice that it's pretty much just good things that happen to you. Yeah. And when they are bad things, it's called life. Yep. You know, another math thing. You might not have asked to get hit on your bike riding to work today by a car, but that person may have done something negative in their path, and you guys weren't supposed to meet. But that doesn't mean that all the good you've been doing deserved what happened. That's living life on life's terms. No matter how great of a person you are, how good you are at working, how successful, you can get cancer in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not that everything will always be perfect, but when these problems do arise, you can look at them with a clear head and understand why they happen and like form a plan to get around it or how to deal with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're definitely not asking for shit sandwiches all fucking day. You know what I mean? You're at least trying, and it helps a fucking lot, man.
100%. I'm curious about the like early days of your drinking. When did it start? I know that in Oklahoma, the beer was weak, so you guys would do whiskey, but I'm wondering if there was like if you're looking back, if there was kind of a period or a moment that you remember where it was like, oh, I love this. I'm going to keep doing this.
You know, what's funny is I was just talking to my sponsor and our step work last week about this, and everyone that shares after they have time or like speaker meetings or whatever, like everyone has this like moment where they're like 16 or all of a sudden they feel like, you know, a part of the group or happy with their depression or this like awe moment. I don't have one. Like I wasn't trying to escape anything. I wasn't trying to do anything. And it's like, it goes back to my hustler mentality where I was selling weed to the guy at the corner store by our high school and I could buy beer there. So like, let's say it's a football night. These kids would come, they want beer. It's like, it's $1 a beer. So a 30 pack's $30. And so I'd like hustle that for a minute, sell the dude some weed, and then he'd go to the liquor store and get me whiskey. And so it's funny that the on switch was just on. There was no moment of like gradual, and we just drank whiskey. And looking back on it, it's probably like the same thing as like the frat boys, like, you know, drink, don't chase it, pussy. Let's fucking beer bong, whatever. And it's like we were just like the grimier version of just like drinking out of a bottle and not talking shit about it. And it's like in all reality, it wasn't cool the amount of alcohol that we were drinking. And then, you know, it just became so normal. Like, I mean, even with Maloof, you know, it's like from where it started young, we just never didn't have a bottle of whiskey around. And there was always at least, you know, 3 to 9 people around at all times, you know, like with the BMX crew. So you just kind of like, I just turned on the switch and like all of a sudden it's like 10 years later and I just never turned it off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was more, when should I not drink?
Right.
Then when should we? You know what I mean? It was like, it was just always there.
Yeah.
Maybe my mom, like, you know, we're going to go to a wedding. I'm like, all right. And she's like, well, I'm telling you to like maybe try not to smell like booze or. And so it was like, oh, when do I turn this off? You know?
Yeah.
And it was never like looking for when I could drink. It was like being told when to not.
Yeah.
And it just naturally happened. And, you know, I don't know, it was weird with the bike thing and just, I guess, my attitude about life, you know, like not to say people aren't going to tell me shit, but like I'm very much my spirit. And so I realize now how many people just, they wouldn't have known how to ask me to stop or like, why do you do it? It was just like, well, he owns himself and like what he's doing so much. I don't think there's a way to get through that door.
Yeah.
You know, and
there isn't.
I definitely wasn't, you know, like had that been brought up, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Fuck you.
Yeah. That's funny. I'm curious about maybe illustrate a little like a moment, you know, Tuesdays with Miles was fucking prolific. How many episodes of TWM were there total?
I think like either like 250 to 350 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think no, it's definitely around more closer to 250. Because I mean, there's 52 weeks in a year. And I don't think
it's 5 years.
I don't think it was 5 years though, but there was, the reason I say 250 is there was a folder on an old hard drive that I opened up. Yeah. And I was like trying to do some math in my head. And it also based around this really crazy story when me and Tammy were in Arby's in Arizona and Tuesday
it was on the TV.
And like then Cosman gave me a login one time to like upload the video myself for the first time. And like a Google Doc page, like I'm like looking at all these shit and I'm like, the views were in the millions. And I realized it was from like the bumper on the come up. Right. And so I was like, you know, immediately, like I was saying, victim, where's all my fucking money? You know, like it's on at Arby's, it's getting 1 million views, you're paying me, you know, and like really the opportunity was great to have, especially back then. And I'm sure kids would take that price today, you know, what I was
100%.
doing. And but yeah, it's funny how long it lasted. But man, that was, I think prolific wise, the Tuesdays with Miles conversation was really cool. Like just it coming to life. But my whole props bio situation was like mind blowing. That was like a definite step in my career where like, you know, when you answer the phone and it's Stu Johnson and you're going to fly out in a week and you're in the van with Kachinsky and Burns.
Yeah.
And him. And I'm like, just us. I'm like, it's literally, and not trying to sound any certain type of way, but like, you know, it might not look like this in video or my skill on a bike, but in my head, I'm like, I'm Kachinsky and Burns mix, you know, like that's what I'm trying to think. I'm like, I'm weird. I'm savage. And I'm also like, I want to do this tattoos for Kachinsky, hammer saw, you know,
hell yeah.
Chainsaw. But it's like, that was my goal, was to be like a mix of them as a rider. Yeah. You know, like a trail style in a sense. And so like, and that was before even this thing happened. And so like to be in a van with both of them, it was just so surreal.
What was your impression of that, by the way? So like, you obviously know who both of them are. Maybe you knew Kachinsky as you crossed paths with Burns. Because what was your picture of them? And then what was your realization of meeting them and hanging out with them?
Well, Kachinsky is the fucking man. And by the man, like outside of BMX, he's a great father. He's a great human. He's great energy. He's a hard worker. He's everything somebody should strive to be, you know, like people joke if he was a football player, he'd be the fucking one, you know what I mean? Like he's the shit. And so when I met him in the Midwest through Klugowitz and Tony and like the whole Mankind and getting involved with Tony and us like really starting to, you know, figure out our paths together, Kachinsky was around and he grinded when I grinded over the swing set, we were doing like that article and ride. And so I'd ridden with Kachinsky a few times, but he was not intimidating at all. You know, he was very like big brother and totally super cool to be with. And then it would just like, it'd be like mode. And you're like, that's when you'd be like, whoa. Like, and dude, I've felt the ground. When people say this, they're not bullshitting. I've felt the ground rumble when that man lands. Like he is not something to fuck around with. Yeah. And so like those are the only moments around him where you're like, you know, you like realize your existence and like that we're all human here and like something's going down, but it's also like the amount of danger that he puts himself in. But then right after that, dude, he's just like the simplest, like straightforward, sweet guy, you know? Yeah. And so he had a part in me getting my props bio because he had seen the swing set grind, and Tony and me had some footage like, you know, backed up. And so he kind of entered that conversation to Stu. Because it was his the props up issue is his interview in my bio. Nice. And he was like, once I had the swing set, he was like, all right, I'm a vouch, you know, like I want that in with my shit, you know. Yeah. And so I'd already met him, and then but Burns was brand new, and dude, we hit it off immediately. Like I guess you could say there was. I don't like using the word intimidation, but like, you know, when you see a person like that or like a basketball player and like they seem taller or like they're just their presence is just kind of different than what just because you're realizing it for the first time. Yep. So I had that with him when we met up, but dude, immediately we were making so many jokes, and like the intro of that props bio when I go, what? Yeah, that was like a Burns thing that I took on that we did. Nice. And then there was like the Meech thing. It was pimmican beef weed, and like we had our own language, like from where my guys with Drew and everything to like his guys with Albie, like we like mixed our own little thing, and we had a fucking blast. Yeah,
you guys are fucking weirdos. I love it. That's great, dude. That's interesting to kind of segue into what I was thinking about, is because like if there is a celebrity status in BMX, you definitely reached it. And I'm curious if you had a moment throughout your BMX career of like, oh shit, you know, I'm him right now. Like thinking back, what was a big deal for you as Miles Rogoish?
Wow, that's a great question, Bobby. There it was for you. Man, you know, that's something I had a problem with. I wouldn't say a problem. It's something that I didn't overcome for a long time of, you know, you always feel like the smallest one in the room. Yeah. And even with my big presence, like I know that's there. I know I'm confident. I know I can run a room, but like you still feel like everyone's eyes are like a little higher than yours, and you're always like, you know, trying to make the next move. It is crazy. And I don't do it anymore. And it's because of the film industry here. You know, in the position I was with production designing, I'm like the main art person. You know, I'm the head of an entire department, and I still was feeling that way. And it wasn't until, you know, my buddy John was like, "Hey, why are you tripping out?" And I was just like, and he goes, "Look around." He's like, "These people wearing cargo shorts with tape on carabiners that like don't use them." He's like, You think they feel like you do right now? And I was like, well, he was like, dude, you're killing it. You know? And it's like, even being in like a boss position, I still am like always watching like the eggshells that I think I'm stepping on. And a lot of that had to do with alcohol, you know, because is that not why I got the job, or the girl didn't want to talk to me, or, you know, you're always kind of second guessing yourself. But dude, now today I don't have it at all. And I just know that everything is, you can't ever like know what someone's going on, like have going on in their mind and all of this. So like definitely, you know, not today, but yeah, back then, man, like even in some of the coolest positions I'd ever be in, I never felt like I had made it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's weird. I still always felt like the underdog, or like my riding isn't good enough, or I don't know. It's just weird. You know, I mean, I go to San Diego and I stay with Garrett, and like, you'd think someone like whoever young BMX kid at the time probably thinks like, oh my, you know, I'm over here like, dude, I'm nothing. You know what I mean? And you know, Garrett's the same way. Like nobody in our crew thinks of themselves as this like upper echelon person. Yeah. You
Which
know,
is wild. Person. It's wild because of how you're perceived, but you don't see how people perceive you, and you don't see how people like see your work. But you know, from the trip, Tattoo, fucking stranger videos, Subrosa videos, it's like you definitely earned it, and then still didn't believe yourself to be. I think imposter syndrome could be a
Kobe mentality. The job's not done. Yeah, you know, as soon as Tattoo's out, you know, I mean, and the reason that was done like was passion. You know what I mean? That wasn't to gain another fucking gold star in the BMX world.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, it's what we wanted to do. But yeah, I definitely, I hear where you're coming from, and it's just weird. Like it was always just when something's done, what are we doing next? What are we doing next? You know, but I've never been able to, I wish I could see how some people see me every once in a while, but
yeah, just check in every once in a while, just like, all right,
like, how's it really look out there? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Which is, you know, good. And I felt that same shit looking at fucking Miles, you know, and Maloof and Westcott, and put everybody on pedestals. Even till this day, it's like everybody else has it figured out except for me. You know, it's an interesting.
Well, and that's how our brains work. You know, I mean, I guess the part of me, the reason I don't ever want to get out of that pair of shoes is because I do believe that everyone can do what they want to do, you know? So like by me doing what I want to do and being good at it, it doesn't make me better than anyone.
It just liberates other people to do what they want to do.
Right. And it just means the work I'm putting into whatever direction that's going is working because of the work I've put in. It doesn't make me a better human than anyone else.
That's the best explanation of how to be confident that I've ever heard. I think it was Alex Hormozy talking about just do the work. And then if you have a backlog of undeniable work, which I feel like I have in BMX with BMX videos, and you definitely have too, but like you can be confident in your BMX video world, which is a interesting thing. Like it.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Yeah. Do you feel confident every time you go into a video job?
No,
like outside, like, you know, when you just went to Paris or whatever.
Yeah, I just
like, don't you still feel like fuck, like because you always want to do something better.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You added a lens, or you're like you're gonna try something new out, and you've never done what this company does.
Yeah.
In all reality, you fucking have it.
Yeah,
but exactly. I never walk into a job thinking I fucking have this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's even my art. It's mine, and every single time I'm like, I gotta get this, and then it becomes like just like the video. Each one becomes better.
Yep.
But I never walk in like, oh, these are pieces of cake. I do this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's
I've never
done little moments
in my life, and I don't want to reach that person.
Yeah. Well, that's when you're like, you know, that's when that's when it's over. It's always what I admire is just what you said is just on to the next thing, you know? And I actually earlier this year struggled with that when I put out my last DVD, Mediocre at Best 2. And it's like, once that's done, it's like, okay, what do I want to do? I know there needs to be a next, but I don't know what that next should be. I love seeing your transition from the BMX world outside of BMX. And I'm curious about what was going through your head when you made the final decision, or not final decision, that's dramatic, but when you made the decision.
I like that, actually.
Tell me about that journey.
Well, I actually did make a final decision. And if anyone listening that's been a pro BMX rider or, you know, in a transition period, I highly recommend from my experience to fucking sever the head. Like a lot of people, there's a weird vibe around change, you know, and I think anyone who has had more than one career, that's very noble. It's strong to be able to transition and take what you've learned and go into something new. It should be more commemorated, and instead of people looking like you quit or retired. You know, it's a part of human life. And for me, actually, Stranger wanted to renew a contract, and you know, the paperwork didn't say this, but it was pretty much like, we want to go again with a DVD, you know, and to me, that's like, okay, so we're talking like 4 years of my life.
For real. Yeah.
I mean, not minimum, but around maximum. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not going to let me make a DVD for the next 6 years. Right. You know what I mean? But it could take that long. And I didn't have it in me, you know? And one, like when you said, you know, the next step, you said something right there a second ago. You said, that's when it's over. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny, that works both ways, because when you think you've got it, one, it's over because no one wants the person that's going to do it the same. Yeah. Like you've gotten stale if you think you can do the same thing. And so it's over from their perspective. But the other way of that is when you know it's over, and you know, you say you don't know what's next, but maybe Mediocre at Best 2 is where that stays. You know what I mean? And with the Stranger video, I don't think my part was anywhere near the best writing. I actually don't like my writing in that. Like, I like the video, I like the vibe. But in all reality, like, I can see a downfall from like my big Meech and my prop stuff to like when drinking and shit got away. And some of my best footage that's unseen is that Def Grip interview, because when I got off Subrosa, they deleted my stuff. And, you know, that being said, it's like there's this weird moment where like my writing is lower because I couldn't get out of this lull, right? Well, the over for BMX, I knew I couldn't make another DVD. I knew I couldn't film another full part.
Right.
I absolutely couldn't do it. And
you wouldn't do it without writing. Like you wouldn't just do the filming of it. That was where your mindset was?
That's the whole thing. Like, yeah, I knew I couldn't just go around and film. I mean, to this day, I have a bike. I have a new bike I need to build up thanks to Sean Rickinney and Garrett.
guy, right?
But, you know, and my kid's doing really good on his little pump track bike. And even now, like if I go meet up with the guy, I've met up like once or twice a year over the last 3 or 4 years. And every single time I go out, I film 4 fucking clips for Instagram. And I go home and my knee swells up like a fucking melon and I can't really walk for a week. I can't not go fast. I can't not do a turn down.
Yeah.
I can't get on my bike like the old skate heads and like pump the bowl.
And just chill.
And be enough. Yeah. And it should be like, because I feel like I'm going slow and I'm not doing anything. And my mentality with everything in life is like, fucking let's rock and roll.
If we're going to do this, do it.
And so I drop in and it just feels so stupid. And in all reality, like you said, perspective, some kid at the park or even someone who rides and is pretty good today is probably like, dude, Miles is ripping around.
Right.
But I feel like I look like shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta do something. I gotta crash and like, you know, Coble, come film this. Yeah. I gotta like be in that moment. And then, and obviously then they see it and they're like, dude, you're fucking still ripping. You filmed a clip today. Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't need that. You know what I mean? And so with the BMX thing, I knew that I fully needed to transition and to stick around for the filming. It also just would have kind of like, you know, it's like breaking up with a girlfriend and still having sex with her. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like, you're not, there's no room to grow if you're still going to stay, you know, or keep your foot halfway in or whatever. Yeah. And, you know, there was some times I definitely thought like, did I blow it? And like, should I have just like been the high paid only video guy? Right. You know, because I wasn't ever the high paid video guy. I was like on the team. But, you know, we've seen certain people take the position of stopping the writing and be fully supported by the company as like an in-house person. Yeah. And it's like you're no longer a risk. You know, you're actually managing the trips and, you know, setting up timelines. Like I could have been professional about it.
That's kind of what I pictured was going to happen with you. So during this time, so what year is this? I
think I was 27.
2017.
Yeah.
And had you been dabbling with art? Like what was the first step for you outside of, so you make the decision, I'm not renewing with Stranger. Where are you going to live and what are you doing?
Yeah, well, I mean, right when I did all that, I literally moved out of LA. Like I said, it was a severed tie. And, you know, now looking back at it, I'm glad it happened that way. Like I was just saying, if anyone's listening, but it ended up just being very quick for me. Like everything lined up at the time where, you know, where I was living. It was a great spot, but like my room was really little. It was my bedroom in a 4-bedroom house, but it was like a laundry room turn bedroom. It was supposed to be temporary and it just wasn't like suitable for my life. Yeah. And you know, to be in a spot of like, okay, it's time to move. I also was gifted a Ford Falcon 1961 from a good friend of mine. And it was in Murrieta. So it's like, well, I'm looking at moving and I can't have a non-running 1960s vehicle in LA.
Damn, that thing's sick. Hold on, let me fucking share this. Oh, that's dope. Like this.
Yeah.
That's fucking fire.
Now I have a 63 one that's pink that I actually have right now. But, you know, it was just like this. What am I going to push this car? Well, it's like a salmon pink. It's not like bright pink.
Okay.
But you know, what am I going to push this car and like figure out how to work on it? I'd never worked on cars and shit. like in LA. And so I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to move home. I'm going to go back home, be with my family. I'd known my nephew. I'd seen my nephew 5 times and he was 5 years old because I lived in LA. So like I come home for Christmas and like, you know, I talk on the phone and this and that, but like with my brother being such a big influence in my life, knowing that I've known my nephew for 5 actual days in a sense, or like set times, you know, maybe it was for a week or whatever, but 5 moments where I've came into his life and left and he's 5 years old. I was like, this isn't good. And I have this car and I'm not going to renew this contract. So I moved home and I opened a photo video studio. I like built a psych wall and my place was beautiful. You know, it was $900 a month. When some of my buddies from LA came, they were like, dude, this would be like $7,500 a month in LA.
Yeah.
You know, and it was $900 a month. And I tried that for a bit and, you know, talent and creativity was different then. It's doing a lot better now here. Tulsa's a really great place. So I also
elaborate on try that a little bit. So elaborate on that. I'm curious because like you build the psych wall and then you have a brick and mortar spot, photo video studio. What does that business look like? What was your first client? Like,
well, that's the funny thing is I went all in like I do, and I remodeled this place, and it was a brand new, like the building was a mechanic shop, and this guy had whitewashed it and turned like this few buildings into art studios, and mine was freestanding with an overhead door, and so like I was the first person to take a shit in the bathroom. He had a kitchen set. I was the first person to move into this remodel.
Nice.
So it was like immaculate of a concrete square with a kitchenette, a shower, and then I like veered off where I would make a bedroom at the time. But dude, I put so much work into this place and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I finished and I opened the fucking door and I'm on the west side of the river of downtown and it's December and there's snow on the ground and the leaves, everything's dead. And like the warehouse right down the street has like boards on the window. And I was just like, what did I do?
Oh, fuck.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm like, I'm open and I open it. And it's just like dead, cold world. You know, I'm like, damn, yeah. No one's like trying to come fucking film a music video today. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, it still ended up being cool. You know, summer does come around, but back then the seasonal depression was very real here.
Yeah.
Like business wise. It's gotten a lot warmer. Our winters aren't as bad now. But, you know, then I got into the film industry and I liked that a lot. And kind of the same thing, you know, I wanted more. I got into the union and I didn't want to do set design. I wanted to be the production designer. And it's funny, I don't want anything to do with cameras in that world. You know what I mean? It's like, it's such a different group of people. Like you and me as filmmakers in BMX, and I know you've transitioned it into other things. You're still like a 1 to 2 man team.
Yep.
But like what they do, it doesn't even seem
a different
fun,
world,
you know. And there's no there's no Spike Jonesing it anymore either. It's all the Gib, Jimbo, Burger. It's all fucking. It's construction with catering at this point. You know what I mean?
It's all in the planning. Like the magic happens.
To be creative was like to be creative was the art side, and it was awesome. And I wanted more out of it. And
how does one get into it? What was your first taste of the? Like you just kind of breezed over. I got into the film industry. Elaborate. What does that mean? How did you get into it?
So
what was your first gig?
My best friend John Swab made some feature films here, and the tax incentive changed, and so he brought me in. He was there when the Meech started, you know, and he had gotten sober. He's now 10 years sober, and he just got the biggest Netflix movie of the year next year with Will Smith.
Oh shit!
And he beat out Michael Bay. Like he's an independent director, and he literally is about to make the biggest movie of like the world next year, or Netflix's biggest movie. And he got me in as being his best friend. So the stuff he does here, or we've even done some stuff out of Oklahoma with like, you know, $2 million, $3 million budget. I do production design.
What does that mean? Production design.
So I'm in charge of the whole art world where there's a color tone to the whole thing. And so I deal with the art director and then like the set painters and the designer with furniture, but it all has to live in a world that I've created in my head.
That's dope.
And there's tones and stuff. So like there, and then there's like big no's, like, okay, there's gonna be no red in this video, like no stop sign red, no McDonald's yellow.
Yeah.
Or like if you look at a horror film, or even America, the skateboarding, this is skateboarding, the green like horror tone.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they don't come out of that and all of a sudden it's bright like Crooked or something. It's like so that's like the tone I'm talking about. And when there's so many things in play, like location, car, wardrobe, even makeup, like it all has to like fit into this palette.
So what does that look like as far as the execution of that job? Like, you get, say, for example, John's doing a movie, brings you in, you're the production designer now. Do you have to create a PDF with like a guide for like a brand guide, but for a movie, like your production guide, and then you share that with everybody who needs to use it? Like, how does it actually look?
There's a couple different terms for it, but the broad term for us would be like a lookbook.
Okay.
So, like the color palettes, like the main colors, and then like additional acceptable colors, and then colors that aren't allowed. But there's already a time of where this exists, and so then with like cars, there's certain colors, but you just kind of set up a mood board, you know what I mean, and a lookbook of like direction. And then with John, we know each other so well, we can just like riff and even talk about like past experiences and how we want it. But it really then comes down to like location and seeing the puzzle pieces you have to deal with. And, let's say it's a gas station is an easy one because there's going to be a lot of shit that you're like, okay, that Pepsi sign has to leave, or we have to like Greek this out. Greek is like cover it with a vinyl, or, you tone everything down and you bring it into your world.
Interesting. Yeah, that's cool.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great, man. I've been on set a couple of times and I was always blown away by how many moving pieces there are and how many different fucking jobs there are. Do you think in general that, because what my attitude is like, that kind of big production with a big team is going to be on its way out with the technology moving and everybody from my generation and your generation being a one-man army, it's going to be like getting smaller and smaller and smaller. What do you think about the industry as a whole?
Well, right now I've declined 4 movie jobs this last like month. I'm only doing my art, and the reason is this is where my heart is. I want to get into that eventually of like, I finally have the passion from BMX where I'm at now and like the ambition, but it's crazy because I'm literally like a one-man team.
Yeah.
I do have a financial advisor and a social media guy I hired, and like a right hand that I go to. Her name's Sicky with like color theory and things. Like I've got a little team, but at the end of the day, like I'll put in 8 hours by myself and like realize I didn't turn music on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so awesome.
Yeah, that's badass.
In BMX, I'd get there, but like, you have to have your crew, your filmer, or a skate park. I can do all of this myself, and it's very rewarding. And but with the industry thing, that's what I was getting into. Is I fought to get up in these ranks and then get into a union. And in the union, I'm a painter, because to be a production designer in the union, I mean, one, it's like $13,000 a year. And I was headed in this direct, like just for
you have to pay that to be in the union. Yeah.
You're in a guild or whatever. And so I was heading in that direction. And I just like when I chose BMX over baseball, or even in BMX, when I got rid of racing because my dad was yelling at me about what gear to run. And I was like, dude, I'm trying to do this for me, not for you barking from the fucking stands, Yeah. And I love the film industry in the sense that the people who work in it are awesome. It can be a really beautiful thing, but it can also be an extremely stressful and chaotic environment, especially if the project's not filled with passion and it's more money based. And I don't fall in love with that side of things. And so recently when I made the switch into just art, it's actually because I had knee surgery again. I tore my meniscus on a job, and it was the last day of a movie where I was it's called a scenic. So it's like a painter, but a scenic is the head charge. And like you go in a room, I tobacco it and like grime it and put I dull it and like make it feel lived in, or like blood. And so that's what I would do there. And the very last day, 4 hours left of the shoot, I twisted my knee carrying some paint on like some ice, and my face turned white, and I sat down, and my art director, who's a good friend of mine, he's like, yo, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, just give me 5 minutes, like I know my knees from BMX. And he was like, no, you're gonna go. And I was like, bro. And he goes, hey, it's the last 4 hours. If you don't do it now, I can't do anything. I'm writing up the paperwork. You did a great job. Have your fucking team clean it up. Go. And I went, and I had to have knee surgery. And so had I not gone, I would have fucked myself.
Yeah.
And so I was on workman's comp for a little while, and it wasn't great pay. It was supposed to be that in Oklahoma, it's 70% of your paycheck each week. And I was like, damn, I'm about to make like $3,000 a week just to be chilling.
Yeah.
And I told them, I was like, something's wrong with my check. And they're like, oh, what's the number? And I told them, and they're like, oh, congratulations, you're a top earner. It caps out at that. And I was like, no, dog, I gotta eat, bro. This is all you give people, fucking maximum. But I got to sit down and really focus, and I'd already signed up to finally do this thing called Mayfest, which is like a vendor for artists in town. And I'd already signed up for that. So like, as my knee surgery was approaching, I was like, well, I need to finish all the paintings and have like my booth set up for this event. Because after my surgery, it would be like a month later. And I was like, even if I'm on crutches or whatever, like I'm still going to show up and do it. And dude, I fucking banked. Like, it was incredible. And it opened up a lot of doors, some big commissions that are like 10 foot tall. And I was able to, I was always juggling art and this movie industry thing. And like my art would be getting good, and then a high paying movie would call, and then there wouldn't be a movie on the line, and I'd like be reaching back into my art clientele or like things I'm doing. And you have to give something your all. And that's how I've always been. So like, to be juggling, I was kind of at this crossroads of like, I've already switched out of BMX and went some other direction. And I was like, but I want to be 100% into what I'm going to be doing. And I was able to make that transition with this knee surgery. And like I said, I've declined 4 jobs this month, and I'm just doing my art, and it's amazing, man. Like,
I love that. Yeah. What's a day in the life looking like since you're in it full time? What's a day in your life looking like right now?
Well, Miles Rogoish is sobriety, family, and then passion and work. So it's sobriety first. It's morning reflection, meditation, and then make sure my little guy and my fiance everything's right in their world. And so I balance that. But
I'd like to hear more about the morning routine. Let's talk about that. What is that? More detail. What does that look like?
I pray to my higher power and just make sure that I can be of use today. And every day I strive to be a better version of myself than I was the day before.
Fuck yeah.
Meditate and slow down. Kind of the woo-woo shit we were talking about, a really cool thing about Alcoholics Anonymous. Like, I don't think about alcohol anymore. I don't crave drinks. I go for the program and like the life choice situation and like the principles of it. Yeah. And it's wild, man. Like, it's just to keep my ego in check. But something that AA does, like this prayer and meditation, and even I pretty much try to go to a meeting. I mean, I try to go every day. So at 5:30 every day, I go to my original group. And that hour, no matter how crazy my life is or deadlines I have or what's going on, if my kid is sick or anything, when I go into that room, everything stops.
Hell yeah.
And the group conscious is great. And, it's prayer, it's meditation that you're supposed to do and all this. And it got me thinking. And one thing I share in there is like, every single person, whether sober or not, why have we not been taught to once a day actually take those 10 deep breaths?
Yeah, for real.
10 fucking breaths, Bobby.
Yep.
So that woo-woo shit, it's like, no, let me show you some woo-woo shit.
It's real.
Just stop.
Yeah. And
take 10 deep breaths. Fill your lungs, get oxygen to your brain. This is like a no-brainer, right?
Right. But it's
Everyone
not.
in AA does it.
Yeah.
Every day. And it's like, I want normal people that don't have a problem. Like, and by the way, not like people who drink, congratulations. there's a difference between an alcoholic with an allergy and people who can drink and have two and be like, fine.
Yeah.
And move on with their life. You know, it's a different thing. So I don't look down upon drinking or, you know, I'd heard Nate say in his interview, like he has to stay away from everything. I don't. Like your life's your life. I respect your decisions that you make for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's not gonna hinder me. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, just those 10 deep breaths is so weird that normal people that don't have these problems they go 5 years without taking that moment. I mean, you'd be driving down the highway and do it. I used to do it when I was doing certain drugs to get higher. You know what I mean? Like, if you're doing some fucking good smells and you stop and take 10 deep breaths, you're going to go somewhere else because you weren't thinking. You give your brain some oxygen and your eyeballs are already spinning, you're going to go somewhere else. It just works. So it's crazy that, you know, the world we live in doesn't teach you to slow down and just to be with yourself. And when you're with yourself and you can feel that power of just from breathing, that's where you and I were getting into with the energy that you're putting out.
Yeah.
And being honest with yourself as a whole and being this cleansed, proper running unit in order to attract. And like I said, then when negative things come, you can bounce off.
Shielded. Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I see you coming, or it just hits you straight in the face and you go, okay, but I know that wasn't my fault.
Right.
You know, you're not blaming something else, but it's life on life's terms. It happened, you know? Exactly. And so it just clears everything up. So that's that morning routine part is just really.
You do it guided in the morning, or do you have a YouTube video you listen to when you do it, or are you doing it raw dogging it?
I raw dog it. This guy I met in my rehab that came and talked to us, he had a guided thing, and guided is great. I need to get back into it. I need to go do sound bowls. All of that stuff you can do is so great for you. Yeah, it definitely isn't hurting, and that's what people get misconstrued. Like they want something to work. You know, right. I've never taken pain medicine in any of my 17 surgeries because that's not for me. But when something like CBD, when it works, you're not supposed to feel anything. Right. That's not the mindset that Americans have, or even the world really. They want to notice a change. And when things actually work right, you're supposed to just be level. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so all that stuff is great for you. But no, I used to take long showers every day. I had like my hack, you know, like you saw it in Tattooer. Like I was a nasty fucking gremlin of a being, you know. And I'd have to clear all that out. And I thought it was normal because growing up, my dad would be like, blow your nose out in the shower. He did carpentry, and like, you know, don't waste toilet paper and this and that. Like clear yourself out every day. So now I have like a tick where I have to clear myself out, and there's really nothing to clear anymore, but I still have to do it. But the 30 minutes I would take in the shower, puking bile and literally resurrecting myself until I had my next drink. Cause that's how bad I was, that I wasn't hungover. I had slept and my body depleted its intake, and I had to like gear myself back up to level. You know what I mean? And I wasn't passing out. I would never be wasted or angry or get DUIs. I levelly kept myself fluid. Yeah. So when I'd sleep and wake up, it was like, whoa, where are you at? You need to get back up. And so those 30 minutes that I literally told myself every day I hated myself and that I got to get this under control, and I just take a drink to fix the shakes. And then it was a horrific cycle. But those 30 minutes now, I meditate in the shower. I sit down, I turn the shower on really hot, and I zone out, and I do a breathing exercise, like box breathing. Yeah. Or at least I've turned that 10 into like 20 to 30. And I just take that moment, and it's still hard, you know, like having this information, I regurgitate it, and it's still, there's days where I'm like, well, I'll do 5 and I think I should get up. Cause like the day is already going. Right. It's not going to fucking make a difference if you get up that second. Yep. It's not. It's going to make a difference if you calm yourself down and think about your execution of those moments and go in with a better plan or just a better level head, you know, because that's another thing with the world. If you rush out because you think you need to be on time for, I mean, and I'm an on-time person, but like, because of the way you're setting up the visual of your day in your head, you're going to miss your meditation, not kiss your fiance on the way out the door, forget to feed the dog, and show up to this thing where they're already going to fucking have changed the idea of the day on you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, fuck, why did I neglect myself to show up and you guys don't even know what you're doing yet? You know what I mean? So it's like, always put yourself first. You know, money really.
So happy to hear that, man. That's great. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I would like it. It's been, you know, 4 years of being mindful of that at least, and it's a game changer. So I love to hear that you're meditating. Okay, so we meditate. We're out the door. What does your day look like?
I was gonna say, is this pee break?
Oh yeah, let's pee break. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I thought that's my bad, but
we're back. Bladder's empty, heart's full, dude. All right, so
my heart is definitely full.
Yeah, I know. I'm very happy for you, at least from the outside looking in, and probably in other whatever. But family and chasing the passion with the paintings. I'm super curious about like numbers for like your biggest client stuff, but I want to stay on the day in the life. So we meditate. We're ready, locked in for the day. We kiss our fiance, walk out the door. What are we doing?
So once the day starts, you know, one, I have to thank my fiance, Suzanne. She says I'm her rock, but she's everything to me and my son. They're perfect. But we have a really good relationship where, as a like one, we don't fight. Like anyone out there, you're in a relationship. I thought I was in one for 10 years and it was love of my life. Bro, I'm in a relationship where we do not fight.
That's great.
It does exist. We just work together so well. And so I'm shooting her a little homage real quick because when the day starts, you know, little man gets up early and she gets up with him when he gets up and gives me a moment because I've been working late nights at the studio. But I'm usually up by like 8 o'clock if he gets up earlier, but about 8 o'clock I'm up, and the mornings are all three of us. I make sure she's got her coffee and we chill for a bit. And then she works 3 days a week and goes in at like 9:30. So then she'll either take little man to my mom's, which is Mimi, and then I go and I start my work day. But we have this great thing where we don't compromise, we collab. And so I really thank her in that morning time to be able to like kind of handle the house waking up before I get in there.
Shout out Suzanne.
Yeah. But once little man and her are good to go, you know, it's whatever is left on yesterday's to-do list and ready for anything that comes my way.
How do you keep your to-do list? On your phone? You write it out?
I'm a note person. I write shit down.
Okay.
I mean, I've got notes on my phone too, like, yeah.
Let's see it.
This is
what's on your to-do list right now. Hey, look at that.
So on the TikTok videos that I just had to start a TikTok, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 videos that need to be done of completed work. I need to get prints in the TikTok store, which I need new pictures of the prints that I'm wanting to put on there.
Sick. That's a great idea.
Post about my website being updated, and then I need to make sure the stuff I've made for TikTok has now gone over to Instagram.
What's your website, MrFace.Art?
MrFace.Art.
Let's check it out, dude. Ooh, that's a nice fucking loading. That's nice door Meech, dude. Enter. There you are.
There I am.
Fucking cool, dude. How did you get this done? This is a greatly put together website.
So, you know, a few people have told me that, and I'm just going to be completely honest. My web person is named Lola Delinsky. She's amazing. We were friends in elementary school. She lives in Colorado now, and we reconnected when she visited town, and she made it for me, and it's what she does, and I love it. Any little bit I wanted to change or do, she worked with me great, but it's crazy the amount of feedback of when people go to my website. I can tell they're genuine by saying it's a great website.
Yeah.
I don't know about great websites or bad ones.
Yeah.
In a sense. So like my feedback, I'm like, holy shit. So she really, I mean, she coded it and everything. It's not just run of the mill.
Right.
But yeah, so she's amazing. And any little things I need to do, she's there. This is the first iteration. So this was like to get it, off the ground. And we've been working on what the second one's going to look like, or like the new version. That'll probably be ready like halfway into next year.
It's exciting. Where does Mr. Face come from?
Very good question, Bobby. So I sign all my paintings MR Trip logo.
Okay. Right? Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is fucking me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so a lot of people, one that don't know, dude, even it wasn't Steve. I'm not going to say Steve because he's smarter than that, but it was someone along the lines of like Steve or Ty that was like, so why are you going by Mr. H? I was just like, man, we've known each other too long for this shit, bro. Come on. But explaining that to a lot of people is like still a thing. Like, well, it's my initials in my face tattoo. Oh, what's the face tattoo means? I'm like, oh, fuck. Here we go. Which is fine. But so that's that part of it. And then, with branding, I was talking to Lola. This is before that show that I did, Mayfest. And we were just going through it. And, I want to take this thing into a whole nother area where it's not just like art I paint, I want it to feel like a brand in a sense where I want to become a part of it. Like I was in BMX, the kids messaging, and I really want my voice to come out through my painting, where like, not just like speaking through a painting, but whether it's videos and dialogue and like kind of shedding light on a lot of things. And anyway, I was naming my paintings for a minute, and it's funny because I do paint faces. That's what they are. Yeah. And so it ended up just like, I can't just keep like coming up with these, the names artists have for their paintings is amazing because that's where they're at with the certain painting. But like the way I do these is I'm either honing energy or, trials and tribulations that I'm having or have had in the past, or good energy. It's just all the shapes, like, they're the compartmentalized thoughts and everything someone's going through and how you could perceive yourself or someone else perceives you. You don't know that all this other shit is going on. Right. And so I would always draw faces when I got started, and just my hand with faces anyway. I would draw one face lines on like bar napkins and shit. And so when this turned into like the thing of it, I'm just calling it face and numbering the faces with numbers now. So they're not like Bobby or, ambition or, whatever.
Yeah, face 22.
So they're all faces. And my initials are MR. And like the Mr. H thing was like, we were joking around about that. And so it's Face by Miles Rogoish. And then the Mr. Face part of it is actually because it's Miles Rogoish Face.Art.
Huh.
So, but I'm okay if like the TikTok world or, even everyone wants to start calling me Mr. Face. I'm totally cool with it. And then, within an interview or digging a little deeper, you realize that it's Miles Rogoish Face.Art.
Yeah, so
it's like Mr. Face.Art, what I mean? but it's kind of funny because there's like Mr. Brainwash, or like the Mr. Face thing's kind of catchy.
You can see it, the Mr. H right there. Yeah. I see it. So why are you going by Mr. H? That's great. Fucking A, man. It's really cool. What do you think about when you think about taking it to that next level? Like well, actually, no, let's stay towards the beginning in your first sale. Like when did you realize you could do this for a living and provide for a family?
So dude, that's awesome. Cause like, the photo studio that I had, that I was talking about in the slow moments, I was like taking pictures of my friends that would come by late night and, playing around with photo stuff. And I was getting bored. So I started like throwing paint at pictures, and I was just, to be honest, I was being high and dumb.
Yeah.
Like none of this shit landed. But I was experimenting, and a friend of mine, her grandma owns a storage unit, and sometimes they would have me come by to like empty out a unit for them, or just, she's a really close friend. So, I just go help them out when they needed like a guy around. And they were emptying this unit one time, and she lives in my neighborhood, and she came by and was like, "Hey, I got something for you." And I was like, "Okay." And she came by and she brought me this big, like, antique frame, and it was probably like 52 by 52 inches or something. It's like really big. It was a rectangle, but it was really big. And I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And she's like, "Well, I've been seeing you experimenting with art and stuff." She's like, "Can you make me something with this?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And so, like, to be brought this piece in a different way,
Yeah.
I like kind of thought on it, and I was like, "Okay, what am I going to do with this thing?" And I sat on it for a while, and I ended up taking the canvas out of the frame, and I painted it white, and then I like burned it, and I was just kind of looking at it. I was like, "Man, I don't know what to do." And I remembered like my napkin drawing thing, and so I just grabbed a brush, and because I could always paint over it white or whatever, and I did a one-line face. And I looked at it a little longer, and I tightened up the lines, and then I started like, some shit was kind of going on at my house, and like, so I like threw a stripe at it, and I got into this moment with it, and I finished it, and I gave it back to her, and she gave me $750.
Nice.
It's the first post on my Instagram, and you'll see that it's within the style. I mean, it's grown and gotten better since then. And then there was some that were like horrible after that, but I still really liked that piece. And she paid for it, and that was never like a part of the discussion. And so the next thing during COVID was this restaurant, Yokozuna, is a sushi restaurant, and the business next to them that was conjoined closed during COVID. And so they bought that in order to have their like social distance seating, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so they hired me to replicate as best I could their restaurant in like a funding happy way. And there was a mirror that we took down, and they were going to throw it out. And like, I was waiting on some wood to like stain to dry. And I grabbed the house paint that was in there, and I painted one of my faces on the mirror, and it had stayed there for a few days, and I would like fuck with it here and there, and I was just having fun with it. And the general manager that hired me, old friend as well, he came in and he was like, "Whoa, what are you doing with that?" And I was like, "Well, I was just painting it. You guys didn't want the mirror." And then they bought that off of me.
Hell
so
yeah.
I sold my first 2 paintings ever.
Nice.
And so then I just started making them. And these are friends that were supporting it in the beginning. And
it's fun, dude. I love it.
It took off from there,
Yeah.
As soon as I really like put the time and effort into it, it's definitely evolved. You're showing all the old stuff.
I know. I'm like back towards the beginning. It's cool to see, because you don't know how shit's gonna unfold, and then you gotta, like you said, you won the bike in the contest, and then it's like, okay, this is in front of me. Let's make the best of it. And clearly, that's what you've done here, and it's really cool.
And I really wanted to tap in on some of that, because that's where, I love how you and I talk. We both tangent a little bit, but that's where I was getting at with like when I brushed over the film industry thing, is because I was trying to climb that ladder at the same time when I like was doing this painting thing for fun. This is a fucking the most truth I could ever say about myself. I never thought I would be a paintbrush artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't even sound fun, as a BMXer or it's just, I would never put myself here. And I knew I was wanting more out of life, and climbing that film industry ladder and getting into this. And then I got a gallery, and then they put me on their restaurant menu at this coffee shop, and it started going in this direction. And if you read my bio on the website, I have no art schooling. I have none of that. And I've downloaded all of my urban traveling and like street style from being in the streets as a bike rider. And then like the placement like my spacing, I do get compliments on that, because some people are like, it's kind of like graphic design almost, the way where you place these things. So like, you know, again, BMX and, you know, logos or the DVDs you made, things that we've gotten ourselves into. I don't want things to just like not have, I don't like symmetrical things, but the balance has to be right, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I've just landed in this position that's made me more happy than anything I've ever done.
Hell yeah.
You know, and like at the time with having a family and sobriety and all this meeting at the same time is so amazing. And it just goes to show, like, to anyone listening, there are no rules, you know, like you can do whatever you want. And that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. You know, there's a group of artists in Tulsa that are within a fellowship, and I've got nothing wrong with the fellowship. They get grant money, they get paid to supposedly do their art or invest it into an Airbnb, whatever they want to do. I don't care, you know. But there's this podcast, and someone sent it to me, and everyone says that I know that, like, they're deliberately talking about me, and I take it as a compliment with what they say. But, you know, it starts out where they're like, you know, there's this guy around town that, you know, is opening up his own gallery under his own name. And it's like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I'm a better artist than him.
Who does he think he is?
Well, because there's certain steps you need to go through and all this and that. And it's like, at the end of the day, you know, I needed a studio for these really big pieces that I was making for a client. I needed, like, they're both 10 feet tall, 4 feet wide. So I needed the space, you know, and I have to resin them. So it needs to be like dust free. So I rented a space for that from a film industry person that I know. And it was working out so great with, like, new commissions coming in that I wanted to continue it. And I was blowing breakers, and it wasn't heat, like temperature controlled. So it was going to be like $8,000 to get, you know, a breaker panel and, like, you know, a fucking AC mini split or whatever to, like, keep my shit from freezing or it being too hot, where it wasn't going to work out. And so the space I found that I'm in now, I downsized in studio space, but it has a storefront and then office area.
Yeah.
So I'm able to, like, compartmentalize the 3 versions of what I do. And they were like, you know, what's he doing? This and that. And they were saying, like, you know, he's got they don't say my name and they call me a they, which is funny. They're trying to be nice, but it's like, you know, he's got the confidence and the faith. And then that's when they were complimenting the whole situation, even though one of them said they're a better artist than me. Granted, when it comes to art in school, you probably are.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, I live as an artist, like, even in BMX, like, if I don't like what I'm seeing, eating, and feeling, I'll do a 180 on my feet. And accept a whole new peripheral vision of the canvas of life that I want to look at. I'm not going to let you be a part of, you know, my intake. And so he's saying this, you know, stuff. And he's like, you know, we as people, we need to be more confident and have faith in what we want to do. And he's talking about time. And I'm over here like, this is like episode whatever the fuck of you sitting on the stage doing a podcast, which is great. I support anybody in what they're wanting to do, but you obviously have the time to make the decisions to do what you want. And all I've done is made art that people are enjoying and interested in. And I put my passion into it. It is more critical with commissions. And, like, I could explain to you, like, my process. And I do have, like, a whole formula.
Yeah.
And can speak to it, you know,
That's
if you're a gallery owner. But in reality, like, brass tacks is, in my head, I make furniture you can hang on your wall. You know what I mean? And it looks rad to me, and the people that like it. And so this space was only $250 more a month to have the showroom. Yeah. You know, and I couldn't find anything that wasn't like $3,000 a month that I just didn't need it. What it was offering. So it's like, okay, now I've got this room where when I finish pieces that are originals for myself, instead of wrapping them in plastic and setting them in the corner for a random person that wants to see them, and I got to rip them open or take pictures or whatever, it was like, cool, do the website, you know, have a place for this stuff to live. And that's all it is. It's a small business, you know? Yeah. And so it's funny that the parameters of what I'm doing are looked on by someone else in a way of like, whoa, he's not allowed to do that. And it's like, what? I can't rent a space, make things, and then house them here.
Yeah.
And they're for sale. You know what I mean? Like,
free punch. It's a free punch.
It's so fucking weird, but that's the world. They expect you to hit all these steps in order to get to a certain space, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
You really fucking don't. And I didn't think I'd ever be an artist. So it's like, even following that, I wanted to do more in the film industry, and that I wasn't satisfied with what I was. I mean, and it's a great job. It pays great. I wasn't feeling accomplished. I wasn't feeling like I was headed in the direction I wanted. And I had no idea where that direction was. Where in the beginning of this conversation, it seems like I do, right?
Right.
Well, I'm still every day knowing I need to be a better version of myself, and putting myself into situations and conversations where I'm trying to find out where I can feel this. And when I arrived at this door, man, I just never thought it'd be the one I'd be opening.
It's a nice door.
It's a very nice door, Meech. But yeah.
So the business side of it, where you say, you got the three aspects of it, and it's interesting to think of it as a small business. I'm curious about what it's been like for you with making it a business, in the sense of, like, do you have a newsletter, or do you have a CRM where you're managing where your
Let me write these down.
potential clients are?
But that's kind of where I'm at, everything's growing. And I was telling my fiance when I was opening this space, because, I was doing late nights, as soon as the studio's open, because I had a client that was in town from Pittsburgh, and while she was here for a few weeks, I wanted to finish her commission and have the studio opening night before she flew out. Mm-hmm. So I definitely put way too much on my plate. But I was telling my fiance, like, in my head, and I believed her when I told her this, I was like, when the studio's open and the gears are turning on their own, there's going to be, and I'm really good with balance. I do spend a lot of time with my family, but she likes to think that I might be burnt out, where, like, I fuel in being empty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I strive there. And I was telling her, all this work I'm putting in, and I feel good about it, it's going to smooth out when I get the place open. Well, the place is done, and it's like, oh, well, now I need a TikTok. Right. Now I need to, I haven't taken photos of all this new art and put them on the website, and I'd gotten backed up on that. And now it's like, with the responsibility of having the storefront, it's appointment only right now. So it's, no one's going to come walk in, but the fact that just in my, head that I own it and it's here, it needs to be doing its job. And the responsibility obviously keeps rising on what needs to be done. So yeah, as of now, I'm trying to grow the TikTok, because art has a very good presence there with, like, revealing your work and to finding new clients and whatnot. And so aside from that, I need to make a video of, like, the commission process, the immersive way that it happens, because I can tell this to all one person, but now I'm trying to set it on a stage where, like, without contacting me directly, you can get the vibe of what's available and what you can do. Yeah. It's a lot, but I knew one thing we were going to get into in some form or fashion, and I didn't know where, but it's funny. It's full circle right now. I'm not the painter that was in my, if I thought about a painter, I'd think, like, dude with circle glasses, drinking whiskey with, like, pastels and oils, like, in his glass room in his house in the woods, and it's not that at all. Like, I put so much work, and I have to, and it's good, but I put so much work into before and after the piece. Like, the painting is what it's about, but after that painting, the photos that I have to take in order to have the clear product photo for the website, and then the reveal for the TikTok people, and the slide for the Instagram. And if there's glares in my resin, I have to, like, Photoshop it out. Like, I pretty much repaint these things digitally almost after I make them, or they don't exist. That's the world we live in, is if you can't hit play, it didn't come to fruition. Yeah. And so that's where, when I thought we'd talk about this, is like me and you on mini DV tapes, and people being like, he needs to slow down on Tuesdays with Miles. Like, well, who's this guy think he is? Where now it's like all y'all motherfuckers have to post every day, dog. Like, I was ahead of the time. Where now that's the norm, and like even for paintbrush artists, you know, like every single thing. If you're a DJ, if you run a restaurant, you know, if you're good enough to be word of mouth and people come in for the chicken at lunch, congrats. But everyone else, if you're going to start something new, you have to hit all these other like outlets, or technically, are you doing it? You know what
do you see as, so the analogy is like Tuesdays with Miles was a little bit ahead of its time, in that in the BMX world there wasn't necessarily a weekly fucking thing like that, so like it had that impact. Do you see the opportunity to have an impact right now in the way, like, what do you think is a different thing that you can start doing as an artist to promote your shit that not necessarily everybody's doing right now?
It's somewhat similar to just like my style in BMX. Like, you know, we all know I don't do bar spins, I don't do backflips, I don't have a lot of woo tricks, you know. And so what people got behind was my personality and my style, and kind of like messaging those kids back, like you said, like I was personable. And so I really want to bring that into this world, because I also know that I'm not the greatest artist in the world. Like Picasso said, you know, it took me 5 years to paint like Rembrandt. It took me 40 to paint like a 4-year-old. And so it goes both ways, but I in no way think I'm the best artist in the world, but I do strive very hard to be an artist and be present and to run a business and to make it lucrative for my family. And it's not all about money, but I do provide. And,
you have to.
You know, to get the message across of who you're buying art from, and, you know, the relationship between me and the client getting there is really fun. I've got some great testimonials that people have dealt with complete assholes getting commissions, and it's a very back and forth situation. I'm super open to all like color ideas and design ideas, and I like to make them feel a part of it. And you know, since I am selling it, the cool thing about that is that I do put a lot of passion and heart into this. So that's like the side of BMX where I actually feel the reciprocation. You know what I mean? Like, because I am killing myself for this in a sense. I'm going all in, and you know, it might feel good, like a painting, but at the same time, it's the Sony A7 that takes the photos, and the Adobe suite that's what, $79 a month. You know, now it's like, and the bills and this is a real operating system, you know, and I do put a lot of love into it. And one thing that I have not done with this business, and I plan to never, is anytime it gets stressful, or, you know, there's like, you know, one of my people that works with me, they got sick 2 days, like a week before my opening, and they kept apologizing. And I was like, hey, stop. And then they came in the third day, and I could see them sweating. And I was like, hey, you should go home. And they're a great friend of mine, but they felt like they were letting me down. And I was like, hey, and my other buddy says, like, everyone stop, just stop. And they're like, is everything good? I was like, that's the point. Everything is. This isn't the film industry where I've worked with them. This isn't, you know, yelling at the security guard. This is like, if any of this feels like it's pressured, like we need to just pause, because it's the energy doesn't need to be here. I'm not kicking it out, but you don't need to feel like you need to like rise to some certain stature. You know what I mean? Like the second this becomes a job, like BMX did, like same thing. You asked if I ride or whatever the question was. I still can't ride without being filmed because it became a job. I can't do it for fun. Yeah. It's been taken from me. You know what I mean? And I gave it away, really. I did that myself. I'm not going to blame anyone else. But I don't want this career path to become a job. I want it to be like a life journey situation that reciprocates passion and can fill your house with color and bring you happiness every day, and it can provide for my family and do the same thing for me.
Fucking awesome. So, and it's just from what you just said, it's like you can be aware of and guard the energy that's around you, and that's not nothing, you know. That's an important life lesson. That's cool. Well, shit. We've went pretty far away from BMX, but I do want to ask you the fucking. There's a couple of things that I wrote down that I actually would like to get back into. So hard segue. We talked about Brooch. I think
if we're segueing,
yeah.
I just realized I need to get my laptop charger.
All right, get it.
It's like, wait, it's in my backpack. Hold on, I moved it.
Yeah, we'll pause. And we're back. Okay, you are a incredible filmer and editor, and I was curious about your early influences for filming and editing outside of the skate world, because I don't know skate filming and editing. I got indirectly influenced by somebody who definitely was like heavily influenced by skate videos, but mine were mostly BMX, and I'm curious about your BMX and maybe just standard filmmakers that you kind of sweated and emulated at the beginning.
Okay. Man, the way you worded that. So like BMX filmers that I emulated?
Yeah, I guess the simplest way is who's your favorite BMX filmer? But back then though, you know what I mean? Like Tony was fucking on it and his shit is all skate. It's hard because it is all skate, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's different, you know, it's you're getting in, I don't want to say like at ground level, but you kind of are, you know, like where we were. So there's definitely, I mean, the reason I got a camera was to be seen, you know what I mean? Like there wasn't YouTube and shit. So like when I made that first DVD and got one copy made, I had met this guy, Chad from Austin, on a random trip when he was coming through Tulsa, and he duplicated DVDs. So I sent him the one I had, and I made like 3. I sent him one, I sent Dan's comp one, and I don't remember where I sent the other one. It was like a family member or something. And Dan's comp wanted 300 copies.
It's so crazy.
And so I told the guy to make 300 copies, and he shipped them to fucking Dan's comp. And so, you know, that whole thing was just to get it where it was. And the vibe there was just the crew, you know, there. And if you go back and ever watch that, it's so weird. It's like a crew video meets this road trip me and Alex take. Like it turns props with just me and Alex and like stops in cities real quick. Cause I just was filming, you know, I didn't really know what to do. And inspiration wise, it was really just like, I would see props and that's where I could visually see BMX, you know? And then I grew up with skaters here, and that's who showed me how to use, you know, the death lens and whatnot. And they were very Baker influenced and whatnot. And then Tony, when I met with him, I'll come back to where I was. He showed me barrel distortion on a lens, which Walter Perringer taught him. And my zoom technique, long lens, is very different than Tony's. I mean, they're similar, but what Walter taught Tony for the prop stuff is like keeping the subject the same size the whole time.
Yeah.
Where I would more like frame it and then like do a zoom in or zoom out, you know, like I would more do like a thing where like long runs, he would always keep people the same size. And so Walter was a big influence, in one that he had like talked to Tony, because like you were saying back then, like the Kachinsky was relatable. The fact that Walter would even talk to Tony back then, Tony felt some type of way. And that's why we brought him on Tattooer. You know, he was always cool with us. But as of like, once I started realizing what I was doing and wanting to like gather information, I would definitely say Chad with the Shook videos, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Chad Chackelberg.
Chad, yeah, dude. He's so cool. And I think I want to say Rich was a part of making the Mosh videos.
Yeah.
But anytime that I could see like art involved, you know, where there was, because my brain, the way it works, it's I'm really easy with like compartmentalizing. And I didn't know this at a young age. And like the first time I did DMT with Seamus, it was like, oh, wait, I can just move these things and set them on pause. Like, this is great. But, you know, I didn't know what I was downloading in a sense. But it's the feel, the fact that there was, you know, a start to finish, like even with It's On, their little intros, you know, Jeff's like doing the ice pick, but like, and then Brad,
my name is Carl
running or yeah. But they're like doing these talk things, but then like the titling, and I was like, okay, there's a bumper to each front and end of this, and there's like a cohesive start to finish, and you know, they were both very art oriented, and you know, then it would be like Time Well Spent. Walter did that, and then Joe Simon was a huge one with Subversion. I'm a weird person where I can listen to like Elliott Smith and get really happy. Where
Hell yeah.
Like, dude, I listen to that when I want to kill myself. I'm like, I have this weird juxtaposition with music there, but everything in its right place, Radiohead, the intro to Subversion video, that song gives me so much like joy. It's like I hear it way faster in my head or something. And I love what Joe did with that. The Mutiny stuff all in the beginning was great.
Yeah, for real.
And you're opening my mind. I actually did have the answers to this question.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, and dude, Navaz.
Yeah,
100%. Old school.
I miss BMX Navaz, dude. That was we were lucky to have Navaz in BMX videos for sure.
Skirbo.
Yeah,
Skirbo. I loved the difference in the East Coast shit and then the West Coast shit if it was the right person.
Yep.
Which Navaz was it? Left, right when Dakota rode to that Los Angeles song?
Yes, and it starts with a fakey nose and the LA ditch, I believe.
Yeah, that was the shit.
That shit went hard. Yeah, those are good. It's interesting. I don't even know if I could answer that.
And that's from a filmmaker perspective.
Right, exactly.
You know, like writing wise, there's definitely like a whole different genre there. But
we're gonna get there. Let's see. I want to know your proudest moment on the bike in your BMX career.
One last thing on those videos. Ryan Scher was the coolest fucking guy in the Kink Cheap Thrills intro.
Hell yeah.
That video was one too that they like did a whole movie vibe intro with like a shitty camera.
A house party, right?
That took so much work and it didn't look like it looked awesome, but like that was a big production, especially for BMX back then. But that stuck with me. So whenever I got my first call from
let's watch it real quick.
When I got my first call from Ryan Scher, I was like seeing his kick flips and fucking that intro, and I was like, dude, I'm talking to a fucking rock star. Right now.
For real. It's easy to forget because you just get used to, you're just working with people and shit. But let's see. All right,
and then like you brought up the unclicked thing. It's like what we went through in the beginning. I have so many great things to say about Ryan Scher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't have anything bad to say. I think business wise, I was in a weird spot and I was.
I was right. It's a house party. We got Jim C. Look at this.
Of course, all he had was the ticket to get in. You know what I mean?
Oh shit! Yeah, I think. Oh, look at him. He's cool as hell, dude, with the scene hair.
When he flips the table, that was his idea.
And I'll flip the table here, man. Yeah, that's a full production with the spinny That 70s Show shots. Is that a blug in his hand? Young Scher, dude. Imagine it would be crazy to be able to be a fly
be the badass, dude.
Hang out with these guys. Is that KP? Is that Kevin Porter?
No, that's
Robert Tibbs.
What did I say? Breaks 4 pegs, right?
I don't know. I don't know about Rob Tibbs.
Damn. Are you allowed to have a podcast?
I know, dude. There's so much shit I don't know.
You don't know Rob Tibbs, bro?
I don't know Rob Tibbs. It's a whole thing. Dirty Dan, I catch second waves, and same with Chris Arias.
Dude, my biggest influence in filmmaking and BMX, Garrett Rapp.
Garrett Rapp. I don't know who that is.
Dude, he taught me so much in filming. He's less known. He made Midwear. He was Dirty Dan's right-hand man at the pit filming him.
Nice.
Garrett is so good at filming. He had the TRV 900 with the baby death. He showed me how to get that camera going. He's the
Dirty
fucking.
Dan. This is a whole fucking thing. I don't know if people are
We're
just
talking pudding in a wrestling ring in a living room.
Yeah. On the second story. This is
Once
wild.
you know a bit about production, that was not an easy feat, dude.
There's no
There's
joke.
enough where it splashes around. That's fucking a lot of pudding, bro. Like,
and Danny
it's hundreds of dollars in pudding for sure.
As the introducing. That's amazing. What do you think do you watch BMX videos anymore? Like, do you think there's a modern day equivalent to this skit as the intro? You know what I mean?
I think if anyone headed anywhere towards that area, maybe like Maloof with some of those fit videos.
Yeah, and the recent Reed Stark piece, or it's not even recent anymore, but he did like a 12-minute joint with Reed Stark that was fucking awesome, based off of a movie, and I'm blanking on the name of the movie right now. But anyways. Okay, so what was I asking? Oh yeah, your proudest moment on the bike.
Oh yeah, man, it's so crazy. Not the trick. The trick is crazy. It's my craziest trick, but I've never felt like this is what's weird. Like when we were talking about like when it's over, or this and that. You know, I want to give like homage to Mark McGuire. You know, like 63 home runs. He knew he wasn't going to do it again. And he owns that in his time, right? Like he's the one. So it's not, I'm the two in this situation, I guess. It's the swing set. But it's so weird trying that trick, pedaling through the grass. Cosman was shooting the photo. We're in Davenport, Iowa, which is standard country. And the run up is so jank. I'm hauling ass before I'm like shoulder dodging the entrance of the gate. And I'm like old racing. You can barely tell in the clip, but I'm like racer pumping the like mole holes in the grass and like pedaling at the right one to like be able to get to this thing at the speed I need to, which took a long time to.
Can I pull it up? Where's it at?
Props issue 70.
Okay.
My bio. But it took 63 times. Which, because we're in standard country, Cosman shot a photo of every attempt, and he said it was 63 is the one I landed it on. But the first time I'm hitting that thing, it felt like I was running into a wall with my pegs, like to do an endo, but I'm not endoing. Like it hurt my wrist so much. It was just like, fuck, why did I even let them set up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I go a little more. I start getting up, but it just, in my head, for the first time, I really couldn't visualize it. And I was like, can I do this? And I remember hitting that moment because everything, you know, BMX is scary. So like I would visualize what I'd want to do. Like, okay, I'm going to grind down this rail, you know, get to there and wait. And that's when I'm going to pop over into whatever, you know, like you kind of got to like see it through in your head. Right. And with this thing, I'm going so fast that every time I would really get a good visualization down, when I would hit it, if I didn't go up, I would just get shot off the side. And it was like, it would all go out the window. And you could see the rails actually bent in from me hitting it. It like ended up, see right there before it goes to a loop, like right where my front peg is.
Yeah.
It started to bend even. And it was like huge steel. And it goes in an angle. So when I finally got up there to that angle and got to the top and jumped off, I could like feel it, but it would get taken away so many times. And the feeling that we're talking about, right when the only time I hit the down slope is the one I pulled it.
Yeah.
And I had the angle. And right when my knee went out and I went down, I was so scared looking down at the ground because I hadn't been there. It was so steep that I thought I was just going to fucking hit the grass and go over the bars.
Yeah.
And I rolled over it and I thought the grass was kind of moist. I thought I'd like going by the fence. And I was just like, oh my God, I did it. I fucking did it. And like let the ride out, you know, it was oof. And that's the rail right before that too was pretty gnarly, but no feeling like that right there.
Yeah, I bet. That's gotta feel pretty fucking cool. Yeah, that's dope. And then number 2, because of Rooftop. Rooftop did that, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you a funny story
number 2. Yeah.
So the second time I tore my ACL was in Barcelona, and it was me, Kachinsky, Garrett Hoogerhide, Catfish and Rooftop were going for like, everyone was going in and out, but I was going to be there for like 3 weeks or some shit. And just gathering footage. Like, it was just a trip. I used the last of my Mongoose travel budget without telling them that I was taking a Subrosa over there.
Yeah.
It was funny. But I tore my ACL the fourth day there. And I was hemmed up on the couch and we were all talking, and it randomly came up. It was like the first person I'm going to say I didn't get along with him, but like there wasn't like a super smooth vibe between me and Rooftop. I don't know. Maybe because Catfish and me get along so well, especially because like in our wild moments, and they like have their friendship in a different like TV world or something. But we were like kind of bickering, and I was drinking, and it was like about dumb shit. And I was like, well, at least I pulled the swing set. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, your foot blew off. And he's like, it didn't touch. And granted, he did it so long before, and I was just being a prick.
Yeah.
But I was like, and he used a fucking ramp, dude. Like, so, and I was totally kind of kidding, but I think he got mad about it.
Yeah, I can see that. That's funny.
When I was on the Unclicked podcast, I looked and I was like, I love that dude's art, who did the rad art, but it's a cartoon version of the swing set grind.
Yeah.
It's from Rooftop's photo. And like 3 people messaged me and they're like, is that a cartoon drawing of you grinding a swing set? And I was like, no. Rooftop. Like Mark McGuire, he did the swing set. He gets all the legend on that. I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Totally cool.
Yeah, it's good to be number 2 sometimes. All right. Proudest, not bike, but camera and editing. What is your in BMX opus magnum?
Not BMX?
No. Yes, BMX. Just the behind the camera and the computer, I guess. You put out.
No. That's a great question, because it's a great question because it's not all about the subject matter in the sense. I would say, which they're great, obviously, what I'm about to say, but I would say like mechanically as a filmmaker, Drew with a VX, some like I just knew I was in my mode. I had it down pat. Drew Bazanzin's Backyard at Anderson's House, and the Kanye song. I think it's on. It was a come up video. You might have to check the
might be Vimeo or something, right?
If it's on Vimeo, that'd be great. But then also Dennis Anderson 3-spot stop. For Haro, and then weirdly Chad Curley's premium skate park edit.
I think I just recently watched that too. Let's see.
Because like if you watch his nose manuals, I've got him like back wheel and front wheel to like the corners of the lens, and I'm like, no chop. It's like it's weird. His body becomes like the I don't know, like the cross within the lens. I just knew my spacing like so well.
Let's see. Premium. I'll show you what I'm looking at here and you can guide me. Chad Curley premium skate park. I don't know. What do I look up?
Wait, no. Keep cruising. Put in my, oh, there it is. SD Park. Yeah. All right. And the song is fire. It was before we're getting canceled on shit.
Yeah. I'll let it play for a second. Yeah, clean lens too.
Yeah, that was it's right when I got my brand new Mark 1 element on the front.
Dude, I never had one. I never had a Mark 1. I was always Optica.
It was such a game changer, bro.
Yeah.
I was a mini death on 900 and a Mark 2 on 2100. And it's seriously the difference in the 1000 was or the first death lens.
Fuck yeah.
I'm still like a VX 21 Mark 1 over the 1000 though. I'm a playback screen guy, dog.
Yeah, dude. I definitely play back. I don't know if you play back.
Look at it after the job's done, 1000, for sure. But the way, like in the moment, and like the shit I was saying about my art and stuff, like I run my head cleaning tape. You know, I want to keep the vibe going. I want to fucking bust that shit out and show you real quick how good I did and how good you did.
For real. That's one of my
Can't
favorite
really do
moments.
that with the 1000 as much.
When you nail it and they get the clip, that's a hell of a feeling. And I play back after every clip. Yeah, this is really well done. Crispy, baby.
It was Dennis is probably better film. It's just one of these clips with the nose manuals with him. And Chad was just so fun to film with.
Yeah,
that,
I bet.
Like you could see on some of the ledges, I'm like the other way beforehand and stuff. So he like gave me the ability to play around a lot on the skateboard.
Yep.
And we were at like, you know, super smooth SD parks, like right there, like the back and forth.
Go up the bank and back.
He was super fun to film, and it tested my boundaries on a board.
Whoo. Damn. And this is in 2011. He's doing bar to hang fives. That's sick.
Bro, he's something else.
He's built different. That's dope. All right, cool. What about scariest moment on the bike for you? What's a moment that when I say scary sticks out?
I mean, my ACL in Barcelona was pretty like, oh fuck, in the moment. I guess looking like from where I'm sitting now you can't find this video, but my Welcome to Pro Osiris edit, when I'm like the tricks I did get in Barcelona, it literally ends with me ripping my knee and they're like, welcome to the pro team, have fun on the couch.
It's not that. It's not this, right? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 100% gone.
Yeah, it's not this one.
No. Oh man, I said the swing set, but I loved so much shit in that video. That's awesome.
This one goes hard. This is Larry Hoover.
But in the Barcelona video that you can't find, I grind down this steep rail and then it goes flat and I hop over into this grass hill. Textbook Miles.
Textbook Miles.
I flip over the bar, like I jump over and I flip over the bars one time, and I've got long hair and I put my head like into the ground and I roll over and I get up and I'm like, whoa, because I'm like, oh, I almost killed myself. And everyone was like looking at me and I'm like, what? And you go back and watch the footage and this bamboo tree has been cut off and my head lands between the two like little stumps and they literally would have just like impaled my fucking skull. Yikes. And like I had no idea. And then I went back and I landed right between it after they told me. And everyone was like, well, I wouldn't have even gone back. But the way they saw me crash, I was getting up like, ah. And the way they saw, they were like, we thought you were just going to impale yourself on the bamboo that's been cut off that's like sharp at the edge.
Yeah.
It probably would have killed me immediately. For sure.
Yikes. And then scariest off the bike. I know that you guys got robbed. That probably was a little spooky. Is there any other ones that pop in?
That was extremely scary.
Yeah.
You know, I've got background with, I mean, we're in 2025. I got to watch myself. I'm pretty culturally aware. You know what I mean? Like me and Gabe are great friends. You know what I'm saying? I know about certain parts of the street, and I didn't like that park ever. Like I never wanted to go ride it. I never felt safe there. People were like, let's go ride. Like before even filming there, I was like, I don't like going there. I don't like, only because nothing wrong with the neighborhood in a sense. I'll go there. I don't want to go there with my equipment. And like, I always felt the vibe, you know, and the skaters like you. Sure. It's, you're like we said, you know, I'm opening myself immediately into a whole lot of negativity. Like, it's not fun. You know why? And that moment when I can remember Sean's eyes, because they're grabbing the one camera bag and the dude's trying to take Sean's bike and Sean's in the moment. And granted, he's a little fucking pit bull himself, you know, like love how hard-headed and strong he is as a human being, because he is. And in this moment, the dude pulls out the shank that's like got the bandaged handle, you know, it's like made, and he puts it to Sean's neck and he's like, drop the bike, and Sean's eyes light up. but he just looks at me with full confidence and goes, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Drop the bike." Like,
what do I
anyone
do?
else would have been like, "This dude's got a fucking knife to my neck," and he's just like, doesn't even. I don't know. It was just so weird how he handled that situation, and to me, I was like, someone's getting stabbed, like someone's dying, and then like some are like Tammy's chasing the guy with the bag, and like I'm at the car, and like other members of the gang are coming by, like it's this moment where it's like, okay, they have the stuff, but like we're not safe,
Yeah.
And I was just like, can I just have the tapes? And this dude like gets up in my face. I'm like, you can have the cameras, I just want the tapes. And the fact that I asked that, like when he got into my presence, I was just like, it's a weird feeling where like even driving down the road still, it's like someone could have a gun. Like it wasn't safe for like 5 minutes till we were away from there.
Yeah.
It was so fucking scary to be in that feeling,
That is wild.
It's definitely not good. A scary thing that happened to me that I didn't know in the moment was that the Dew Tour in Orlando before the first Mankind Street trip, it would have been my first trip as a team. My bursa sac swelled up from doing 16 days with catfish, and the time in the hospital started to get scary because they thought it was staph, but it was fluid. But I started hallucinating and like knew that I needed to pull it out and get out of there. And that was
hearing
like
that story,
scary life moment.
You tell that full thing on Unclicked. Everybody should go listen to that. But
I was rushing through it. But what I didn't explain was what you're asking is like my actual mindset in that bed was really freaky and just hallucinating, and like the feeling of getting sick. Like I don't get sick. You know what I mean? I power through shit, especially like the way I was drinking and everything. Like I don't have like I can't do it today mood. You know what I mean? So like for me to be like getting these waves and hallucinating and like getting on the edge of death, but like in a very calm, controlled environment was extremely fucking scary for me because I was completely like not in control of myself. And I don't ever want to feel like that again. That's fucking insane.
It's also scary to realize like you got to experience firsthand, like people put doctors on a pedestal, but they're humans and they can be wrong too. So like if you stayed in that hospital, you could have died. Like that's so crazy to think about. Like
and they've got all the parameters to get around it. That's the thing. Like when Drew cut his artery open, I don't know if you remember that video, the banquet video that Cosman did about him, but I was filming him in Tulsa. He's riding on this curb to gap over, and there's this truck always there, and he never did it because of the truck. And we were filming one day, and he's like, "It'd be cool." Oh no, the truck was always in the landing, and for whatever reason, it parked on the other side of the rail at this apartment complex. It's an old truck, like badass truck. And so when he landed and leaned over and landed on the windshield, it wasn't breakaway glass or whatever. It shattered like real glass, and he cut his artery open. And we went probably 120 miles an hour to the hospital, still filming with the camera on wide. And he's losing what seemed like to me like a half a gallon of blood in my fucking Jeep.
So crazy.
And we think he's dying. And we get there and we're like freaking out. And they're like, they put a bandage on him and they're like sitting him down, and we're freaking out. And they're like, he hasn't lost enough blood yet. And I'm just like,
what?
That's the world they live in. Like you're saying, you think that but like in their heads, you're a truck and they're going to put a new engine in, It's like, oh no, there's still some oil in it. It's not going to lock up yet. You know what I mean? And it's like, what? And so he didn't get like pulled back. I mean, he was in a first room, and he had to have emergency surgery, but we sat in that first room with him for 45 minutes, and he probably lost like, I think he overall lost like 2 pints of blood. Which is, don't you have like 5 in your body?
Yeah. How many pints do we have in our body?
I mean, he was losing so much blood, and they were watching the time and coming in and checking, but like they had to get the operating room set up. But like when the lady told me again, I was like, how much longer? She's like, well, he's only lost X. Like he's okay, but I'm not okay. He doesn't feel okay. Like I was just saying too. You don't feel good not having 2 of your fucking 5 or 6 pints of blood in your body.
Right.
You're not gonna die, but do
All
2
right, I
deep
looked it
breaths,
up.
you
Take a
feel
guess.
better. Lose 2 pints, you feel horrible.
How many pints of blood do you think? You're not right with the 5 to 6. What's your guess?
I'm either like close or way off. 9.
Nice. Yeah, it's from 8 to 12. So approximately 10 to 12 for an average male, adult male. That's fucking wild. It's humbling to remember that what we're made of. We're just fucking bags of flesh, and we're so
Well, I've
vulnerable.
got one more story that no one really knows. And
Hit me with it.
But like you said, our vulnerability, our fragileness,
Yeah.
Do you remember? You might know, you might not. He rode for Blunted through LaShawn, and he was in some of my Tuesdays edits. But his name's John Stafford.
I do remember John Stafford. Yeah.
Really good, balanced kid. Really good person. Really, really good person. He came up to LA when I lived in Hollywood, and we were going to film. He was still trying to get out there, and that's like one of the, especially in our time, that was one of those kids like, fuck, man, if he just. I mean, he lived in LA or in San Diego. He was so good. Like, it was one of those kids that's at the park that like 100% would be pro if he lived in Nebraska. Right. You know what I mean? It was crazy to me. But he came up to LA to film. He was still trying to pursue his dream. And we went out partying. And he was 18, I think. 18 or 19 at the time. Maybe 20 max. He wasn't legal to drink. So I was getting him in the bar. And stout, sunburnt San Diego, sleeveless, what's that shop down there? EC BMX or whatever. Fucking good ass kid. And we partied into the night, went to the after hours, and we get back to my place at like 3 a.m. And the apartment I lived in, it was a studio apartments, but 101, 201, 301, and 401 were 1 bedrooms, and they had the fire escape. And connected to a window in the hallway before your door. And I lived on the top floor, and I lost my keys. And so I have this great idea to get on the balcony, the fire escape balcony, and have him hold my arm. And I'm going to reach and grab my window.
Oh, no.
So I can go to the ledge and open up my window where my AC is, 4 stories in the air. And dude, this feeling, like, this is the scariest moment of my life that you were saying on a bike.
Yeah.
But I'm about to like go for the moment where it's like, I'm right here, but I gotta get there, And I'm like, okay, hold my arm like I'm already falling. He's like, bro, I said I got you. And I go for this reach and I fall, dude. And he holds, I fall, I lose my stepping.
Yeah.
I fall off the fire escape.
Yeah.
And he has me and he's holding me. And I look up and he's with all his might. He's trying to do everything. And we're in this zoom, slow down moment where he can't do anything more but hold me. And it's getting worse. And I'm like going to slow-mo. And I'm like, okay, on the count of 3, swing me to the 3rd story fire escape. And he's like, on 3. I'm like 1, 2. And I'm like, not yet. 1, 2, on 3, not 1, 2, 3, shoot, like on 3. He's like, okay. So he starts swinging, and I'm like, boom, and then on 3, and I fucking land, and I crawl through that window and come back up, dude. I just started crying. Starts crying like a cry I've never had. Like, it wasn't sad, it wasn't happy. It was just like you couldn't control because in this moment, he's like, I'm going to be the last thing that holds him before he dies. Yeah. I'm like, if he fucking lets go, I'm fucking dead. And this was also like a couple weeks after Dan Friels, the dude that did the triple backflip, died on the balcony of that hotel.
I don't know.
Dan, something, he was a dirt guy. He did the first triple backflip.
Okay.
But not really our world if you don't not collecting that.
Yeah, but I don't know.
He was super rad fucking dirt rider, but he had just died a few weeks before falling off a balcony. And to this day, like I was never scared of heights, and I can I go skydiving and I could bungee jump or whatever, but I get vertigo so bad on like the edge of my scaffolding if I'm painting a mural, or like if I get on my roof because a tree fell on it in the winter. Like when I get about a foot or two to the edge, I get vertigo, and it's all from that moment of when that happened. And
Yeah.
I used to be able to like walk on a beam across the edge of a fucking skyscraper with Tom Villarreal.
Yeah.
And now, dude, I can't. I have to like, I start shaking. I have to like get on my knees. I cannot get close to the edge whatsoever.
That's fucking perfectly reasonable, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. People
yeah,
like
I've been in a Mission Impossible. Your
Yeah.
homie is holding your arm, one arm, and you're.
I can't even watch
It's
those
so
videos
fucked
with
up.
the Russian guys who do like parkour on the edges of skyscrapers. It's like fucking, it's so uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable now because of that.
Yeah,
I used to be like, oh, that's cool, and like Nick Tansley does that shit from Barcelona, and I'm like, yeah, it's not worth the clickbait, bro. You know, like,
Dane Searles.
Yeah, that's it.
Dane Searles.
I said Sears and Friels. I was like, it's right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, bless
that's
his
a
heart.
shame.
He was huge right when that happened. First triple backflips.
Died from injuries sustained after a fall from a balcony at a party. Oof, that's tough. Well, yeah, fuck, man. All right, I want to know your Mount Rushmore. We'll wait for Mushmore. So we got your magic. Okay, so wave a magic wand and get rid of a trick in BMX. Nobody could ever do it again. A lot of people have said ET. But what would you get rid of?
Doesn't bother me none. Man, I feel like I'm being negative. Fuck. Man, what just looks ugly? I don't know, man.
It's freestyle, baby. We don't have to get rid of anything. All right, let's keep it positive. All tricks are great. I think rides, dude. Get out of here.
Man, I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
I'll say this for Matt Marquise: the hang nothing.
Hang nothing is a goofy ass trick for sure.
Yeah, I love Matt Marquise, and he fucking hates it. And I'll take his pain and use my wand to give Tim that.
There we go. Shout out Keys. All right. And then what's your best spot or favorite spot that you've seen? You've been all over the world. What's the best BMX spot you've ever been to?
Wow. Wow. You know what? I love subs. So I really like, and I loved the hitching post back in the day.
Right. So what's the best street sub box?
Well, I'm trying to think. That's the thing. I don't think I ever came across the best one ever. I really liked on Mega Tour. I rode one wherever Minneapolis, I think, with Reed Stark.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a Jersey Barrier one in Cincinnati where Nayer's from that he took us to. And then there was a cool one in LA as well, but I always wanted to go ride the Wall of Life.
What is the Wall of Life? That sounds so familiar.
The Devlin hand planted it. And
yeah.
I had visions of me Ice 270ing it, but I don't think I ever could have done it. I never got to it. And by the time my career would have gotten me there, I definitely was like more on the whiskey wagon.
Yeah.
But I think, around the earlier days, that thing looked amazing. But that's my favorite thing to ride. I don't know why I can't think of like the perfect one. But yeah,
that's cool. You got to go on Mega Tour. That's dope. All right. Well, fuck it. Pass. What's your advice?
Pass that one?
Yeah, you could pass on anything. What's your advice for a young, hungry kid who wants to make it in BMX?
Make it in your everyday. Don't focus on BMX. The woo-woo me and Bobby have been talking about. Be a better person every day. I promise every single action you make accounts for something. And so starting your day positive, and whether that's not learning a new trick every day, but perfecting the one you have, saying hi to a kid on a scooter at the skate park, making someone else's day, really open up your availability to the world to want to accept you into a position that's you're considering prime. Because if your focus is to get to a destination that is somewhat materialistic or idolized, if you do get there by being a dickhead, you're going to hate yourself when you're there, and you're not going to be in the right position you want to be in or for the right person or company anyway. So I would just make it, I mean, also the people who are nice get they get the spots, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if you're the best at riding, or even have the best clothing style or whatnot. You know, you've got to be personable. Being a pro BMX rider is not just your tricks on the bike. There's a lot that goes into it on the back end, you know, with traveling. How are you around people? Can you brand a product? Yeah, you got to take life into consideration. You know, I thank BMX for a lot of tools that it taught me. I showed up to BMX with a lot of tools. And one thing that I've kept very close to me, you know, you hear certain people say things. I was at an Osiris steak dinner at Interbike one year, and the owner was there. I'd never met him. I'd met the people who seemed like owners in Carlsbad and whatnot, but like the owner is an Asian man that does not really, I mean, he doesn't live in the US, but he doesn't really live anywhere. He's got shitload of money and places all over. He's got his hands in a little bit of everything. And he was at the dinner overseeing what was going on, and we're all talking and whatnot. And he ends up talking to me after the dinner, and he's like, "You're different." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he asked if I wanted to play craps. So me and him go play craps. It kind of upset some others, you know, like Party Boy Miles and the actual owner are going to do their own thing for a minute. Yeah. And we didn't party or anything. Like we went and played some craps and we talked for a bit. And he's like, "No, I want you to know you're different." And he taught me something that he had been taught, and I kept it with me. And I didn't know at the time that I was going to, but he said an emperor, famous emperor had once said this, but he was taught from a mentor. And the saying goes, "You learn the way in something, you know it in everything."
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand it at first, but you know, like in sobriety or life or anything, you know, I can call myself an alcoholic, the first step, but until I surrender and understand and learn what that means, then I haven't learned it. You can know how to do a job, but you haven't learned the job. To learn something is to know like its origin, its in and out, to be able to pull it out of thin air, you know, to recreate it and to understand it. And whenever I finally understood that, you know, that goes into when people have career path changes, and, you know, you can take X plus Y equals Z into anything.
Yep.
If you've done it properly. And so the reason I say this is your BMX isn't what you're after. You're after a lifestyle choice, and you need to be at home with yourself and in tune with knowing that there's something bigger out there than you. It's not all about you. There is a greater power. You are not in control of this world. And as soon as you get right with the world, if you're supposed to be in that spot, you will, you know. And like I just said about John Stafford, you know, much love. He should have been one of those people at the time when I thought that. But in all reality, there's a reason. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and bless my boy's heart, you know, I love him to death. We've got a Tammy McCarley on the line, you know, and doors opening. And at certain moments when certain actions happen, your talent goes out the window. Your talent keeps you there. Your talent didn't get you there.
Right.
It's first you're nice. Your talent's noticed. It keeps you there. And then you got to continue to be a human being. Yeah. And so let the pro BMX or whatever you're wanting to get in life come. Another thing is my art career. It's one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me in my life. And I say happened to me because I did not tell myself I was going to be an artist. I told myself I'd be a pro BMX rider.
Yeah.
You know, I accomplished that goal. But from what I've learned through that, I was chasing a different career, one that was not going to give me happiness. And the world gave me what I was really searching for by being in tune with myself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So,
Being at home with yourself sticks out a lot because I think a lot of people aren't at home with themselves, and that's really good advice. That was real good advice, Miles. Fucking A. Okay. Mount Rushmore. Who's your Mount Rushmore, Miles Rogoish?
of
BMX.
I just gotta make sure. Man, my Mount Rushmore BMX on the spot. Wow. So many. I feel like I'm gonna discredit so many people.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. For me, let's hit a definite Jeff Klugowitz.
Hell yeah.
Drew York. Tony Nyer.
Sick.
Man, I'm split between Gabe and somebody else.
Oh, we got to give it to Gabe, bro.
I'll give it to Gabe, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Well, this has been a fucking treat, dude. It's been 2.5 hours. Let's wrap her up.
I'll say my honorable mention there.
Okay.
The reason they're split up is they're two different beings. Gabe is a magician.
Yeah.
So as of Mount Rushmore, I don't know if he ever actually would have became a president.
Yeah. I would love to see Gabe on
he's pulling magic tricks is what he was up to. He was a showman. But Sean Mack.
Hell yeah.
Would definitely be in that category. Because you know there's Garrett's, there's Rickenny's, there's Ty's. The guys I picked are there's a different type of work involved.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't want to use the word textbook because they're all amazing. They're so incredible. But some of the things I've seen those individuals go through based on the task at hand, which is what a president would do, is accomplish a task. They've been delivered some very hard predicaments and got through the job that needed to be done. So
that's beautiful. Well said.
Thank you.
If somebody's listening and they want to commission a piece from you, what do they do?
That's a great question, or not a great question. I appreciate that. So my website is up and shows available stuff. I'm all communication based. So if anyone's been inspired through BMX or likes my art now, you can reach out through Instagram, or the email on the website is everyone@MrFace.Art. The TikTok shop should be up and running soon, but I can make prints in any art that I've made in any size. 8x10 prints are super easy to just quick ship if somebody wants to grab something fast.
I'd like
to. If they're BMXer, just don't be scared. This piece behind me is for a guy named Tanner in Durango, Colorado, and he was great to work with. Paid top dollar, really rad dude. Was very inspired by the trip and all the crew and everything, and that was great. And then I've had some guys hit me up that, you know, have been inspired through me. And then, you know, after talking to them, it's been a little harder for them in life. And I've worked out payment plans on some price, and I dropped prices a lot and worked out payment plans in order for, you know, I really like being supported in something I love. And if I've changed your life, you're helping change mine now. So it's not just all about like what my price of my paintings are. I'd like for people to own them that have a reason to care for them.
Yes.
So just feel free to reach out, and I'm sure we can make something happen.
Beautiful.
Or I'll just send you some prints for free, whatever.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk to you after and get a print.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Thank you for your time. This has been fun.
Appreciate it, man.
And see you fuckers later, huh? All right.